Subtract my age from the mileage on my speeding heart. Credit cards, accelerate, accumulate. Looked for you downtown, wound up in a movie with no story. Now it's late and you are nowhere to be Hesitation's always mine. Hesitate outside the times. With all I don't say, with all I don't do, I'm sending you invitations to hesitate to. Every 10-year-old enemy soldier thinks falling bombs are shooting stars sometimes, but she doesn't make wishes on them. When she wishes for less ways to wish for, more ways to work toward it. 10-year-old enemy soldier, our falling bombs are her shooting stars. Hesitation's always mine. Hesitate outside the times. Oh, call me or drop me a line. Say you've been with me. Say you've been with me. Say you've been with me this whole time. Old world underground, I never knew you, but I've seen your face everywhere there was a farm. Before we tore the small town down, multiply, divide. There's no way out, the only way out is to give in. there's no way out, the only way out is to give in. How I love to. How I love to. Buy this car to drive to work to pay for this car. Buy this car to drive to work.
Welcome to the Yellow Brick Road. I'm Jordan, and tonight I shall be talking about Tulsi Gabbard and the aftermath of her debate destruction of Kamala Harris. In which case she fucks up, but then redeems herself, but it's still a fuck up. I'm also going to talk about Tim Pool, but that one's just for fun. I'm just going to shit on him. It's a 20-minute video. If I cut it off short, I don't give a fuck. I'm just going to play it to talk shit and ask questions of how the fuck do people like this guy? Holy shit. But first, please consider donating to Devon's Journey to Recovery. The GoFundMe link is down there in the description box. Click that link, read the story, and donate some money. Any amount will help. It's for charity. It's not for us, so please donate. Devon's Journey to Recovery. Description down there. No, wait. Link down there in the description. Alright. So the first thing I'm going to go over is the CNN interview that Tulsi Gabbard did yesterday. Not the one right after the debates. This one from yesterday. Yeah. In which she's being interviewed by Chris Cuomo of CNN. Now, we know what to expect here, so I don't even need to say much. We know what's going to happen. If you've been following these candidates, you should know what's going to happen. Here we go. Chris Cuomo and Tulsi Gabbard.
In the Hawaii Congresswoman, good to have you on Primetime.
Aloha, Chris. Good to talk to you.
Good to see you. So I want to talk to you about how you took and why you seemed obviously dissatisfied with the senator's answers last night, what you think the state of play is after last night for you and the other Democrats. But I want to clear something up. You need to acknowledge that Bashar al-Assad is a murderous despot, and you can still make your argument that the United States has no business risking blood and treasure in places where it should not be. I don't understand why you didn't give that answer last night.
You have to say, this is a journalist telling this person, you have to say that you hate Bashar al-Assad. You have to say that. Let's hear Tulsi's response.
Well, first of all, let's talk about what you're addressing here. And I don't dispute anything that you're saying there. He's a brutal dictator, just like Saddam Hussein, just like Gaddafi in Libya. The reason that
The reason that you need to be called out for this is because you're allowing people who want war. I don't think you do, Tulsi, but for people who do want war, they need that narrative to be alive. Now, these guys might be assholes, but nonetheless, you have to bring it to the... You have to understand what these other guys, their tactics are for getting our country into war. And I think you might understand that to some degree. So that's why you have to say, that's not the point. That is not the point of what I'm doing here. I don't need to call anybody anything. I need an opportunity to sit down and talk with the guy and maybe de-escalate this civil war they're having in Syria. So that is a flawed move by her. But she will make things better. Let's continue.
outspoken on this issue of ending these wasteful regime change wars is because I have seen firsthand this high human cost of war and the impact that it has on my fellow brothers and sisters in uniform. You know, Chris, I respect you because you've spent a lot of time throughout your career shining a light on the challenges that veterans face when they come home. I will do anything and everything that I possibly can to stop sending our men and women in uniform into harm's way, fighting in these wasteful, counterproductive wars.
The notion
our
deserves
country
nothing
less
but
safe.
respect, Congresswoman.
So clearly, once again, if you've been following Tulsi Gabbard, you know why this is unfair, right? Her, just on Wednesday, not that long ago, a couple days ago, had a major moment on national TV to where she took down one of the leading candidates, and her first questions are about Bashar al-Assad. I mean, come on. We know that's not fair.
Deserves nothing but respect. I'm not disputing that. I think it's a legitimate claim. But here's what I'm asking.
Even if
you put yourself in a hole, though,
let me just finish. Let me
Go ahead.
finish.
Finish your point,
let me
please.
finish this point
Please.
because it's essential. It's central to the question that you're asking. I will never apologize to anyone for doing all that I can to prevent more of my brothers and sisters in uniform from being sent into harm's way to fight in these wasteful, counterproductive regime change wars, even if it means meeting with a brutal dictator focused on that objective, keeping the American people safe, making sure my brothers and sisters in uniform are honored by only being sent on missions that are worthy of their sacrifice, and making it so that we stop wasting trillions of our taxpayer dollars on more of these wasteful wars when they are so needed right here at home to address the essential and urgent needs of people in our communities, people like those here in Detroit.
I take issue with none of that. None of it. Do not make any other assumption about anything. I'm talking about one specific thing. All of that is completely valid and does not need any benefit to Bashar al-Assad. On your website, I don't understand why you have information on there that questions the notion that Assad is responsible for things that the U.S. intel and the United Nations intel believe he's responsible for. You don't need to defend him to make your argument. I don't understand why you do.
I've never...
Do you see why that's asinine for just a normal person to say? But imagine being a journalist for a major news network, and you say, and for some reason questioning a topic or a story from higher ups, aka the intelligence community, somehow that's considered, oh, that means she loves Assad. That means she's sheltering him. That's what that means. You must believe Alan Dulles. He's right. Always agree with him. He's intelligence. Always agree with Alan Dulles. J. Edgar Hoover, always believe what that guy fucking says. George Bush, when he was running the CIA, George Bush Sr., whatever he says is correct. Don't be a journalist and question such things. Or even just human and question such things. Or even remembering being lied to before and then saying, fuck, what's it go? How's it go? Fool me once, shame on you, and you know what it means. Yeah. Here we go.
Never defended. I've never defended Assad.
The stuff
What
on the
you're
website
referring
questions
to-
the legitimacy of
what
his
you're
connection to the
referring
attacks.
to are
Yeah, should be questioned. You're supposed to be the journalist here. You're questioning someone questioning. How do you question the king? What do you call them? Pied Pipers? Is that what they're called? Those douchebags you'll see in like Braveheart movies. How dare you question the king?
Pied Pipers lead a group of people over to their tomb.
Whatever. Point is, come on, son.
He's a Pied Piper.
How dare you question someone who just lied to us not that long ago? There we go. That's fucking incredible. A journalist just asked her, why are you questioning this?
are cynicisms, a skepticism that I have expressed because I've served in a war that was caused by people who lied to us.
Yes.
Who lied to the American people.
Understood.
Who presented.
You understand that? Wait. You agree and you understand that we were lied to in regards to the second Iraq war. Yet, this one you can't question? Fuck. Remember this guy told you, don't read the WikiLeaks, it's illegal. Let us professional journalists handle it. We'll do it. We'll make sure to, redact all the statements that will make the DNC look bad, and we'll give you the good stuff. See, here's Hillary talking about going to yoga. That's a juicy story there. These guys are fucking uber corrupt, son. They might be worse than the government itself. The little sniveling guys that hide the crimes of the tyrant behind them. Is that worse than the tyrant? I mean, pretty fucking close, I'd think about it. Here we go.
False evidence that members of Congress and U.S. senators believed and voted for a war that resulted in the loss of lives of over 4,000 of my brothers and sisters in uniform. The very first thing I did every single day when I served in Iraq in that field medical unit during the height of that war in 2005 was go through a list name by name of every American casualty and injury that had occurred in the previous 24 hours. I know the cost of war in a way that none of those other people on that stage last night can understand. So yes, I will always ask the tough questions. I will ask for the evidence. And
that's supposed to be your job, Chris. That's not supposed to be the politician. I'll always ask the tough questions. That's supposed to be your fucking job. Not the tough gossip questions. Like actual real issue questions. That's supposed to be this dude's fucking job. What's up, King Me? What's up, Judd? I'll get to those comments soon. I just want to hear Tulsi bring up the OPCW report.
as we're seeing, evidence is constantly coming through. It's our responsibility as lawmakers and as leaders in this country to make sure that our U.S. military is not being activated and deployed to go to war unless we are certain, A, that it serves the best interests of the American people, and B, that that action will actually have a positive impact.
That's
so
why we
the
argue
questions
on this
I'm
show
raising
all
are
the
based
time.
on this experience that I've had
I hear you.
of making
I would argue
sure that
what's
we are
on the
doing the
website
right thing.
isn't just raising questions, it's speculating in a way that isn't based by fact. But we've discussed that, and I don't want to spend
And I'll let Tulsi handle this one.
all the time on it, and we argue on this show all the time.
Let me just point you to two quick things. Let me just point you to two quick things on that.
Go ahead.
Can I point you to two quick things on that? There was a report that was recently sent out from the OPCW, the UN's organization responsible for investigating incidents of chemical weapons attacks, that brings into light a lot of different evidence that wasn't previously reported. And secondly, there's a professor from MIT who has also been an expert in missile attacks and chemical weapons, who's also shed a lot of light on this. What I'm saying is
they've raised
we've
some
got to
questions
examine
about
all
what
of
the
the
dynamic
evidence.
is there. Nobody's exonerating Assad. Let me ask you something.
Yeah, let me ask you something else. Let me shift. By the way, that's been 6 minutes. The title of the video is Tulsi Gabbard, Kamala Harris didn't give any answers. That's the title of the video. Now, you know what would have happened if she fucked up there? Be Tulsi Gabbard actually does love Assad. She believes in conspiracy theories. Fuck. Let me read a couple of these. King Me says, bro, UFC just cut Cyborg. How not surprised are you? Well, I haven't been paying. I heard little things about the drama that Dana White and Cyborg were having. And let's be real, she's expendable. If you look at the UFC and how they operate, there's a short list of guys that you can't get rid of. The rest are expendable. Just like a corporate CEO, cold-blooded motherfucker acts. Just like that. No problem, get rid of him. King Me also says, James, stop being a snowflake pussy and get on camera.
Go back to
Huh?
Go back where I can see you.
Judd Hirsch, Tulsi is only pointing to the truth about Harris, and that's all it took to roast Harris's ass. Yep. She could have got Biden too on foreign policy, but she's probably like, why beat a dead horse? That dude's done for. Dubster Brian. So Tulsi Gabbard going to be silenced by the DNC like Bernie was in 2016? She already is, but she doesn't have the groundswell of support that Bernie had. If she had that, I still think they wouldn't be able to stop her because we had Bernie. The thing that happened in 2016, people are not just going to sit back again. Something crazy will happen. Kingby says, is it wrong that every time I see a skinny girl, I get fixated on snapping their necks? I'd call that unhealthy thoughts. I need more detail on that. Ruben Garcia, it's me, Austin. It's me, Austin. It's me. It was me all along, Austin. Oh my God, JR. Thank you for that, Ruben. Dubster Brian. Oh shit, I skipped Muay Thai, my bad. Probably because they were silly comments. Ireland for the Irish. Trump 2020. Ban all soy products. Dubster Brian says, yes, Onyx, that is wrong. Muay Thai. James is a snowflake soy boy hybrid.
Run.
That sounds a little sus.
Run.
Muay Thai, are you saying you want James to melt in your mouth? With some sort of extra flavor behind it? Sort of like a soy snowflake. Dubster Brian. No, I'm talking about that what WikiLeaks revealed on DNC silencing Bernie. Oh, yeah. They'll do whatever tactics behind the scenes that they can get away with. And this time they'll have triple, quadruple the security on their fucking computers and servers and shit. But yeah, they're already doing that. They're still doing it to Bernie now. There's a New York Times article titled, I don't know the exact title, but it's called the Stop Bernie. Type in New York Times and Stop Bernie. That's like a plan or something they have, where they meet up with certain candidates and certain think tanks behind closed doors, and they come up with strategies to get Bernie Sanders the fuck out of here. Muay Thai. Sophie D has come out of retirement. Oh, that's a porn star. That's good for her. Or bad for her. Depends on what type of person she is. Ruben Garcia. Ah, son of a bitch. Is that another wrestling reference? Judd Hirsch. Wait until the Steve Mnuchin debacle comes to light. Harris didn't prosecute him, even though her team recommended it was over 1,000 criminal acts, and then took money and voted for him. I think Harris is done already, but that'll double down on it. All right, so with this whole post-Kamala Harris destruction, with this whole post-Kamala Harris destruction, instead of talking about like, oh, what's your replacement policy for what Kamala Harris has, Tulsi? What's your replacement policy? Now the big headlines are all about her and her relationship with Bashar al-Assad. Even though she went to meet with Assad with Dennis Kucinich. No one's saying anything about him being there. Michael Tracy did in an interview. But we know this is bullshit. We know this is to smear. And it's not, the smears aren't working. They're not working because it's so telling, because it happens right after she fucking murks Kamala Harris. What is working is we don't get to hear her issues, her other issues. She's trying to get her talking points in, but they keep circling it back to, well, I went on your website and you seem to have questions about our intelligence services, our intelligence community. Why are you questioning them? She brings up the OPCW report. She brings up other experts that have questions about this, and he pivots to whatever. I don't even know if. Let's see where he goes from here.
Something else, Congresswoman. Why do you think Senator Harris didn't have specific response?
Yeah, so he pivoted back to Kamala Harris because he didn't have anything for that. You can see him looking down at notes and shit.
Weapons attacks that brings into light a lot of different evidence that wasn't previously reported. And secondly, there's
He's
a
like,
professor
yeah,
from MIT
that's
who
it.
has.
You can see him shifting the papers, like, okay, we'll move on now. I can't respond to that. What is up with these motherfuckers, man? Anyways. All right. Ruben Garcia says Jim Ross after Vince McMahon revealed himself. That was the Ministry, right? When he did that. It was me, Austin. Muay Thai. If I was president, I'd get James to single-handedly build the wall, butt naked with Republicans throwing rocks with MAGA scratched into them. Ruben Garcia. Dennis Kucinich is no longer sitting in office. That's why he doesn't get smeared by mainstream media. He ran for something last year but lost in the primaries. Did he try to run for Ohio again? I don't know. But what I know about Kucinich is seems like a legit dude. Legitimate. He takes me as like a Democratic Ron Paul type. Really. Dubster Bryan says redirect is a brilliant attack scheme. It can be. In these short form interviews, that shit is gold, man. And yes, it was the Ministry. So, I have a second Tulsi Gabbard video. Do I wait for it? Because Tim Pool's going to bring it up. He's not going to bring up that interview, but he's going to bring up something. He's going to call it as Tulsi attacking Trump for no reason, and it falls flat. But you know what? Screw it. Let's play it now. So this was Tulsi Gabbard on MSNBC or NBC News or whatever. Yeah, MSNBC. I believe today she did this. And once again, more Assad stuff. As you can see, the little headline there, Gabbard on claim Trump supports Al-Qaeda. Tim Pool says, oh, this falls flat. But she'll explain. Here we go.
With evidence. I'm going to give you that opportunity now.
Yeah, I appreciate it. There's two major areas here. One is this president has chosen to double down and triple down on an alliance with Saudi Arabia, a country that is the #1 propagator of the radical Wahhabi.
Wasabi. That's funny to me. All right. Sorry.
On propagator of the radical Wahhabi Salafist ideology that fuels terrorist groups like ISIS and Al-Qaeda, a country that both directly and indirectly supports Al-Qaeda in countries like Yemen and Syria. And secondly, this president is doubled down on support for al-Qaeda and continuing this regime change war in Syria, even threatening to use our own military to respond to anyone who tries to attack al-Qaeda in the city of Idlib in Syria, where they are in control of and have their stronghold. This is deeply concerning to all of us as Americans, but for me, especially as a soldier who enlisted after the attacks on 9/11 to go after al-Qaeda, that terrorist group that took thousands of lives on September 11th. This is a huge betrayal to all of us, to all of our service members, to all of those first responders on 9/11, to every family that lost a loved one on that day.
Congresswoman.
Now, MSNBC is this channel of, they do the Russia stuff. We all know about Rachel Maddow. They're the super hardcore anti-Trump types. Now you have something on Trump right here. You have a established politician who's calling out the president for supporting al-Qaeda in the Middle East. That seems like something they'd want to jump on. If they're all about impeachment and all that, that seems like something you can, investigate and possibly find something to impeach Trump with. Maybe war crimes. Maybe the war crimes of al-Qaeda can find their way back to Donald Trump. But that's not what happens in this interview. This happens instead, if I got the time right.
Do you not believe that the same could be said for your meeting with Bashar al-Assad?
And there you go. Wake up, guys. They don't like you. They hate your guts. This isn't about, the best possible ideas flourishing. This isn't about stopping any type of wars, stopping any type of violence. This is not what it's about. Because if a journalist was interested in ending war, trying to make a moral decision, they would have jumped on the claim that Tulsi just made and zoomed in on it and made it a big story. Like, fuck. We can kill two birds with one stone. We can end our intervention in the Middle East, and we can impeach Donald Trump. 2 for 1 right there. But instead, she pivots to Tulsi Gabbard and Assad again. Don't worry, Tulsi will call them out. I could read some of these. What did I do? All right. God damn it. There we go. Judd Hirsch says, isn't it the job of Congress members to do their due diligence when it comes to war? Yes. How does meeting with someone make you an apologist for them? It's laughable at this point, given all the evidence. As I said, they don't like us. They don't fucking like us. And if there's anyone that sounds remotely like us, like normal people just watching from the outside and we have all this information around us, if you have someone that sounds remotely like us, they will smear them, knock them down. Bernie Sanders, you have populist ideas, we're going to smear you and knock you down. Tulsi Gabbard, you're talking about information that everyone else sees just from fucking YouTube. We're going to knock you down. I feel like Jimmy Dore right now. Except less, half the charisma. All right. Muay Thai says, James, take me down to... Okay. Ruben Garcia, Kucinich ran for president as a Democrat in 2004. People keep saying that Howard Dean was the progressive candidate running at the time. But I remember Kucinich being the guy with better policies from the websites I remember visiting. I also thought that Hillary Clinton was also running during the primaries, but maybe not, since nobody brings it up. Yeah. See, I found out about Kucinich around the same time I found out about Mike Gravel. He's a lot less animated than Gravel, but I'm like, oh, these guys are right. But part of me understood why they picked, like, Obama. Right? I think Kucinich was there in 2007 too. I think he was on the stage with Gravel and Clinton and Biden and Obama and others. But yeah, I'm like, you got these two legit dudes here. No one picks them. I can understand it then. Now I would not be able to understand it. I'd be like, what the fuck's going on? Which is why they had to cheat Bernie Sanders. Don Johnson says wasabiism is directly funded by the Japanese government. It's funded by the toilet seat industry, the toilet industry. They know where wasabi goes after. Judd Hurst. The CIA propaganda machine is being exposed in real time, and it's beautiful. They are asking no questions or following up on anything that has been presented by Gabbard. They just keep echoing smears. Yeah. And it looks bad. It looks like, you see, Tim Ryan is not the same stature as Kamala Harris. So when Tim Ryan tried this, everyone was like, get the fuck out of here. You're just mad because you got fucking murked on national TV. Now it's the same thing but amplified. Now it's trending #1, and it's Kamala destroyed and Kamala Harris destroyed in the fake fucking trending shit. Like hashtag we love Kamala Harris or whatever. It's like, that's a band-aid for a fucking gun wound. Ruben Garcia, 2004 was where John Kerry won the Democratic nomination, and that's when Skull and Bones Society truly got brought to the general public. Yeah. Don't tase me, bro. Occupy. People don't even talk about Skull and Bones anymore. Yeah, I know. Because, what's his name? Dawson? Shane Dawson? Him and guys like him have co-opted any type of conspiracy movement that used to be around. Alex Jones is basically a shill now, as far as I understand. I haven't really watched his content, really. So, Judd Hurst, I agree 100%. My questions are pointed at the mainstream media. Do they really think the average person cares about this bullshit? Zero policy is being discussed. People will start to wonder why before long. Some will. There's still dum-dums all over. I was just watching the Trump rally yesterday, and there's like, dup, 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 holding up signs for jobs, like jobs. It's like, that's the same old guys. You think you're starting a revolution with, we need more jobs. Look at the jobs report. Look at the economy. That's anti-revolution, man. That's docile, go back to sleep, work your 9 to 5, come home, watch fucking Jeopardy, fall asleep, and repeat. That's what that shit is. Ruben Garcia says Dennis Kucinich was homeless for a while when he was still a kid. Blessed are the poor. All right, so let's continue with Tulsi Gabbard on MSNBC, to where she's going to respond to these constant smears. Here we go.
I don't know how you could equate that. We're talking about a president that is directly...
That you would be meeting with the leader of Syria who could feasibly be responsible for the kill.
See, I even missed that. There's so much bullshit. I even missed that. That the journalist, the anchor host, whatever, is comparing funding Al-Qaeda to commit crimes against humanity versus her sitting down and meeting with Bashar al-Assad in an attempt of diplomacy. That's incredible. That's a incredible conflation there. Immoral one, I might say.
Killings of over 500,000 people who ordered the chemical attacks on children in his own country?
I will never apologize for doing all that I can to prevent more of my brothers and sisters in uniform from being sent into harm's way to fight another regime change war, the likes of which we have seen in Iraq and Libya and Syria, that have taken so many of our service members' lives, that has taken so many of our taxpayer dollars out of the pockets of people in this country, people who are suffering, people in places like Detroit, like Flint, Michigan, communities across this country, what to speak of the suffering that's been caused. So if that means meeting with a dictator, meeting with an adversary in order to accomplish that mission of keeping the American people safe, making sure our troops are not continuing to be sent on these wasteful wars, putting their lives at risk, and making sure we've got the resources for the American people, I'll do what is necessary. And frankly, that's the kind of commander-in-chief we need, that truly has the courage, just as we've seen in our country's past, how, President Kennedy met with Khrushchev, how Roosevelt not only met with Stalin, a murderous dictator who killed millions of people. Excuse me, sorry, let me finish. Who met not only with Stalin, who killed millions of people, but actually allied with him. Why? Because it was in the best interest of our country and the American people, and to bring about an end to that war. So no, if it means meeting with dictators, if it means working with people who do things that we find abhorrent.
Or meeting with Bashar al-Assad, but not necessarily meeting with the leader of Saudi Arabia, or supporting, or having a relationship with them.
That's not what's going. Trump isn't just meeting with them for diplomacy. He's funding them. He's funding their wars, and he's funding their proxy wars, which have now become our proxy wars. That's what she means by funding Al-Qaeda. We give our money to a nation, and they give their money to Al-Qaeda. That's us funding them. It doesn't even have to be money. It could be weapons or whatever. Tanks, Toyota trucks. Fuck. As opposed to just sitting down and talking with someone. Like, what's going on in your country? She also sat down with the opposition, I believe. The opposition in Syria. Not the Al-Qaeda opposition, but political opposition to Bashar al-Assad. I believe she talked with them as well. That's never brought up. Same thing with Modi in India. I believe she met with the opposition to Modi as well. Never brought up.
Sure, you're mixing two different things up. I'm talking about having a meeting.
I don't think I'm mixing two different things up. I'm just trying to get clarity on it, because there seems to be some inconsistencies in your views of it.
There's no inconsistency whatsoever. Having a meeting for the pursuit of our national security and peace is one thing. I would meet with the leader of Saudi Arabia, with leaders of Iran, with leaders of North Korea in that pursuit of national security, keeping the American people safe. The difference between that and what Donald Trump has done and continues to do is he has cozied up, allied with, and supported Saudi Arabia in their support of al-Qaeda and in support of this genocidal war in Yemen that continues to this day, an illegal war that Congress has not authorized, that's killed thousands of innocent Yemeni people, and that's caused millions more to suffer.
So I hear
you're talking about two very different things here, but you know what? These
I hear you
are
on this,
issues.
Congresswoman. I hear you on this. I hear you on this. So I want to go with this for a moment. So when sitting down with someone like Bashar al-Assad,
right? She's literally feeding her the information. If she wanted to push for impeaching Trump, she's literally feeding her the information to do it with. Literally. And she's like, no, let's go back to Assad, though. These guys don't want Trump impeached. Not really. In fact, they take Donald Trump over Tulsi Gabbard. They take Donald Trump over Bernie Sanders. 100%. And they definitely take Donald Trump over, like, Mike Gravel, who propaganda told me that Gravel was recently talking to Tulsi Gabbard on the phone, and they might link up as far as campaigns. Very possible. I'll read a couple of these. Occupy says, my dad just told me, you gotta admit Trump's economic numbers look good. We are fucked. I mean, good relative to what? I mean, relative to past neoliberal and neoconservative policies? Imagine if we weren't fighting 8 wars at the same time. How better our economy would be doing. Not that I give a shit about the economy. I care about how are people actually doing. How are they literally doing? I don't know if you guys remember, I did a video on it with Wilbur Ross, who's like the head of Treasury or something for Trump. And they're talking about, what was it, like 800,000 government employees weren't working or getting paid because they had the government shutdown. And he says, well, that's only, 0.3% of the GDP. That's how they're looking at you. All you guys in the comments, me included, and most of the people around you. It's only 0.5 of the GDP. So if this person starves, isn't it, why don't they take out a loan to feed themselves? I don't know why they're going to food lines. Why are they going to soup kitchens? They can just take out a loan and gather up more debt and pay it back with interest. That's how psychos think. Don Johnson. As long as the media continues to smear her, she has my vote. If they begin to treat her like Warren, I'll be suspicious. Don't rely on that. They're using any marketing tool they have, man. Go watch Bill Hicks talk about marketing. Like, oh, you're going for that anti-marketing, huh? Judd Hurst, Trump rallies are literally a test ground for stupid. The government studies these interactions to see just how stupid the lower IQ populace really is. I was really paying attention during 2016 when he got elected. 2015, 2016, and 2017. I was paying attention when he got elected. And the people that got him elected, who really got him elected, are not dum-dums. They're not dum-dums. They saw the writing on. They saw how blatantly corrupt Hillary Clinton is. They saw that. We all saw it. The guys who were a little more keen, a little more understanding of politics said fuck Trump and fuck Clinton, and I'm voting for someone else or I'm not voting at all. And the dudes who have been against the mainstream their whole political life, then they see someone that the mainstream hates, and then they start following them, and then they're not all dum-dums. Dumpster Brian, I know a guy who was a CNN mouthpiece, and when I asked him who he liked in the debates today, he said he did not even watch it. He fully puts his faith in CNN. It is so off-key, I don't get it. Yeah. Those type of guys are starting to go away, I think. The watch mainstream news only. Like, oh, man. These guys kill themselves, the mainstream media. And by the way, their average viewer age is 60 plus years old. I think that's important to know. How things might shift. The problem is what you really gotta look out for is the replacements. That's the guys probably on YouTube right now that are working their way up to replace these types of people. Looking at you, TYT, who can shovel in Elizabeth Warren quietly and say, she's just like Bernie. Dumpster Brian, now they authorize the Saudi Arabian war by not stopping his veto. 45, 45, and 5. Yeah, I brought that up. I probably brought it up yesterday. No, the day before yesterday during the debates. I'm like, you guys still had a chance to win this vote, right? They need 2/3 to cancel out the veto. Couldn't do it. Fucking incredible. So they just substantiate the war crimes and keep it going. Fuck it. Dead kids, fuck it. I need to look good by voting with Trump. Or no one cared about the vote, and so they didn't see a reason to, virtue signal. So they didn't bother. Fuck it. Judd Hurst. I used to think the mainstream media talking heads were uninformed, but I've come to the brutal realization that they are the true enemy of the people. They use every trick to distort the truth. They never clarify. Yeah. They work against you. I would say that about some YouTube guys. Like when I was watching YouTube guys, I'm like, oh, this guy's stupid. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Oh, this guy's dumb. He's just ignorant. It's like, no, I think they're playing a game. I think they have a motivation behind what they're doing. A method to their madness, if you will. Ruben Garcia. Steve Mnuchin is a Skull and Bones member. I forgot about that. He's also a criminal. I don't know if that's mutually exclusive or not. I know the Bushes were, right? The Bushes were Skull and Bones. Judd Hurst. The only people who truly believe in capitalism understand nothing of how economics really works. Capitalism left unchecked would fail in a few short years. The accumulation of wealth would be insane. Yeah. I mean, I think it's more about corruption being unchecked. If corruption is unchecked, then you run into problems no matter what system you have. And no offense to these lawmakers, but they don't have the tools to handle corruption. They can write laws and handle criminal activities by their standards, but they can't handle corruption itself. It needs more than writing laws on pieces of paper and telling people follow these rules. As we can see, I've talked to James about this when we're talking about like crimes of Hillary Clinton. Like if you're a normal person, you'd be like, yo, that's fucked up. That's wrong. There's something wrong with that. It's like wrong is a different term than illegal. Those are two different terms. Illegal is supposed to mean wrong, but it doesn't work that way in this world. Tate Tot. Long time no see. I can't watch TYT anymore. I'm glad Dora left him. I bet he's glad too. He had to pay them to get the name of his show back. He had to buy his own show from them. The fuck kind of crude business. These guys are your friends and you had to do that? The freak? That should have been understood from the beginning. Like, oh, if you get a big enough channel, you want to go off on your own, go ahead. It should be that simple. No lawyers needed. All right, let's continue with this because Tulsi strikes back.
Very different things here, but you know what? These are issues. Congresswoman, I hear you on this. I hear you on this. So I want to go with this for a moment. So when sitting down with someone like Bashar al-Assad in Syria, do you confront him directly and say, why do you order chemical attacks on your own people?
I hear you talking about war crimes that Trump's committing right now, right this very second. Even though my whole thing's about, getting him impeached, but I'm going to ignore that to go back to you because you're more dangerous than Donald Trump could ever fucking be. We know that. We know this at NBC. Whatever. Let's continue.
Why do you cause the killings of over 500,000 people in your country?
Look, you know, I want to break this down to what we're talking about.
It's really a yes or no answer.
I want to break this down to what we're talking about here today, because you're talking about a meeting that took place, what, 3 years ago?
Well, Congresswoman,
and every time I come back, every time I come back here on MSNBC, you guys talk to me about these issues. It sounds like these are talking points that Kamala Harris and her campaign are feeding you because she's refusing to address the questions that were.
Next headline: Tulsi Gabbard, conspiracy theorist, thinks Kamala Harris is talking for us at MSNBC. I'd say, Tulsi, you're wrong. You're wrong. Kamala Harris is not feeding them talking points. They believe this on their own. They would do this on their own. If Kamala Harris never existed, they would still be doing this. It's their job. It's what they get paid to do. Take anyone that seems like they're, I don't know, a normal person or someone who's trying to do right against the military-industrial complex. They will try to tear you down. They will smear you. So it's not Kamala Harris. They would do this on their own. No problem. Plus, they don't want a paper trail, so they probably coordinate in other methods. Some people we've never seen before. That's where they get their agendas from.
Important, I think, for the American people to have context about your foreign policy issues and where you stand. If you're leading with foreign policy and you're running for the President of the United States, a meeting with Bashar al-Assad, which I'm sure you understand, is a very controversial meeting to take. Hence the reason why when you come on MSNBC, it is important for us to talk to you about that. And of course, every anchor has a different perspective and different questions to ask of you.
Every single time for 3 years. This is where the propaganda comes in, because I've talked about this a lot for the last 3 years, and I've talked about how as a soldier, I served in a field medical unit in Iraq, where every single day I saw the very high human cost of war.
Now, Tulsi's going back to her talking points, which I wouldn't do. I would keep on the attack right there. Because you got her. You have her right there. They've constantly been bringing this up. All these interviews you do on mainstream networks, they constantly bring up the Assad thing. If it gets brought up on a independent channel, it's usually in a joking sense. It's like, are you a toady of Bashar al-Assad? As a joke. She probably, clenched her fists and went back to her talking point, because she's like, they'll try to make me look bad if I say anything further. But she should point this out. She should.
Every single day, the first thing that I did was go through a list name by name of every single American casualty and injury that had occurred the day before. So I will not apologize to you or to anyone for doing all that. Let me finish. For doing all that I can to prevent our country from continuing to make these perpetual wrong decisions that have taken a toll on the lives of my brothers and sisters in uniform. I will continue to do all that I can to make sure that we end these wasteful regime change wars that have taken such a toll on all of us and that have made our country less safe. And if that means having a meeting with a dictator, if that means trying to meet with Kim Jong-un in North Korea to de-escalate tensions and remove this nuclear threat from our country and our people, whatever the crisis is, we've got to have a leader with the courage to do the right thing for the American people, putting their interests ahead of everything else. That is what I'm focused on. And that's what's at the center of my foreign policy and the leadership that I'll bring as president.
I certainly am not asking you to apologize for your service. I'm very thankful for your service at that. And I don't think anybody is asking you to apologize for your service. This is more a conversation and asking you questions to explain the decisions that you've made in the past and the statements that you've made in the past with regards to your foreign policy views.
Now, this is where I'm going to say that the MSNBC chick is... It's easier to just look at her and say, here's the problem right here. It's someone above her head. She knows what happens to her job if she speaks out of turn here. If she doesn't go over these Bashar al-Assad smears and talking points. So it's like, we should really be looking at the guys above her head in the dark suits in the CEO's chair, saying, we must go over this. Like, Tulsi's going to be on, do this. We need you to say this. Fuck, man. Even if you believed Assad gassed his own people, even if you believe that, you would still, like, you still wouldn't be like this type of rhetoric towards Tulsi Gabbard. If you're an honest person, you want to do the right thing, and you truly believe Bashar al-Assad gassed his own people, you still wouldn't do tactics like this. And also, Tulsi, it's not just MSNBC. It's not every time you go there, because you were just on CNN. They just did it to you. You were just on stage with Kamala Harris, and after the debate was over, she did it to you. This is a bigger game than these news networks. Something floating above their heads. I don't know exactly what it is. All I can say is corruption. Alright, let me read these. Where did I go? Alright. Dubster Brian. If you have a corporation, basically you cannot be arrested if your corporation did it. The corporation can be fined. That's a bit of the corruption today. Okay. If you cannot be arrested. Yeah. Yeah. So it's like the monster stays alive, but the little minions might, take hits. Right? They could hire someone just to be like a fucking suicide bomber. To be some sort of kamikaze person. Go in there and smear them and shit on them and do whatever you can to knock this person down. And then when it's over, we'll tell the public, see, we're firing this person. And then we'll give them a good severance package, and then back on, life continues. The monster still breathes. Judd Hurst, do people confront our government for the systematic oppression of people of color in this country, or the unchecked police violence, or the illegal wars we're involved in? No. I mean, I would put it I would put it in a different context. I get what you're saying, but I'd put it in a way of, these type of people will take advantage of anyone, of any race, just anyone. All these hardcore Trump guys, a lot of these hardcore Trump guys, I'm just saying, are white dudes. They've been being shitted on just as much as all these other people. Just certain people, they take advantage of all these different people in different ways. That's how it's done. And then they get you to fight amongst yourselves. They get you to fight each other. That's why I put the core thing of corruption up there. I don't even give it a face because it doesn't have a face. It has, like empty fucking humanoids acting it out. But it's still the corruption thing that is the thing we have to fight, I would say. Dubster Brian, that's for Judd. Judd Hurst, at some point Tulsi needs to ask what apologies has she made. At what point did she apologize? Crickets. Dubster Brian, Tulsi support Medicare for all, right? Is that the only thing keeping her on the left? No. She supports Medicare for all. The real one, not Kamala Harris's or Elizabeth Warren's Medicare for all, but Bernie Sanders' Medicare for all, essentially. She wants tuition-free state colleges. Before she said community college, but she might have expanded it to state universities as well. Environmentally, she's definitely on the left, quote unquote, the left. Probably similar with gun violence. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of things that put her in the progressive category, I would say. Remember, the things like interventionist wars and shit like that. Oh, actually, all these issues should not be about left or right or anything like that. I think it comes down to morality. I think that's what people are thirsting for. Right? Trump projected himself as being the moral champion for them. I'm going to fight the corruption. I'm going to drain the swamp. That's what we're looking for. All right. This next video is basically for fun, I would say. I mean, it's I always think about doing like a real video on Tim Pool. And it ends up being like a joke, basically. So it's just going to be all right, Judd. Peace out, man. Have fun at work. Jobs, 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 jobs. So yeah, when I do Tim Pool, this Tim Pool video, it's just gonna be for fun. I'll pause it at any point to read comments. It's more of an interactive type thing, just to talk with you guys, and also to shit on Tim Pool. If there's any Tim Pool fans, I'm not sorry about this. I don't know. Does he pass Steven Crowder as the worst political analyst? Not yet. There's that Mr. Reagan guy. He's really bad.
Someone actually brings shit up.
Okay.
Crowder can't.
Yeah.
Which is why he is the worst of all time.
All right. I'll go with that. So, but here's one of the worst political analysts on YouTube. Tim Pool. Good God, is he horrible. Let's go through this 22-minute video just for shits and giggles. The title of the video is Kamala Harris Destroyed. Democrats are so desperate they call Tulsi a Russian puppet. I don't think that was the main thing. I think the Assad thing was the main thing, but, you know. Tim runs in different circles. Destroyed. Democrats are so desperate. Yeah, I know. Like, isn't Tulsi a Democrat? Very weird. Dubster Bryan says, I like Tim Pool a bit. Steven Crowder is cool too. They're fucking trash. They are so trash. They leave out information. Like, the link you sent me, or you sent us in the comments, Dubster Bryan, I'm like, oh, here's like information that's just not, you know, the constantly repeated information, but information that attempts to go in depth and shit. These guys do not do that on damn near any topic unless it's something, I would say, that helps them out to some degree. You know, Tim Pool will go into detail about, here's the Antifa event, here's 18 camera angles of how it happened, and blah, 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 blah. And Jack Dorsey and Twitter, they're censoring us. Here's my numbers. You see how I'm being recommended here and I'm not over here? Something's happening on YouTube. Something's happening on Twitter. When he gets into, you know, actual other political issues, he comes off as a Trump fan by omission. if that makes sense. It's the shit he leaves out that props up, that tells me a story of like who he's really in support of, I think. You've probably heard that a bunch of different times. And Crowder's just, he's a propagandist, straight up. He's straight up a propagandist. Not gonna lie, he's a propagandist. Go watch his Venezuela video. Holy shit. Holy shit, does he ignore a shitload of information. Just ignores it. Uses a video from, was it a VOA? I forgot what that stands for. Voice of America or something like that. It's actually a, I think it's an actual State Department news thing. News channel. Fuck. Oh yeah, and go Team Israel. That's Steven Crowder. And there's just dudes on YouTube that like to call a bunch of people Zionists and shit like that. He checks all the boxes. That bully over there. What happened to that fucking guy? Rush Limbaugh. What happened to the Rush Limbaugh picture? I like that one. He's on account number 348. All right, that bully over there says Trump wants to pull all U.S. troops out of Afghanistan by 2020 election, officials say. Okay, but what about everywhere else? And also, he's probably not going to do that. We've heard this story before. President saying, we're going to pull troops out of here. And they leave behind basically mercenaries and, contractors. They don't count as soldiers, but they're guys with guns that hang out in these nations. Blackwater and stuff like that. Looks like you're going to have to vote for Trump, fellas. Ha. Ha ha ha. Well, I was just doing a video on a candidate that said we'll pull troops out of Afghanistan and Syria and Iraq.
Trump's a murderer, so.
We'll talk with the leaders of these other countries to de-escalate. We'll go back into the Iran nuclear deal. That sounds better than what Trump's doing, which is, military posturing. Dubster Brian, oh, I get they don't deep dive. I mean, they are somewhat informative and entertaining. That's all they would have, if you ask me, is entertainment. Granted, it doesn't entertain me, but that's what their shows are about. Entertainment, I would say. It's not about informing the audience. And they, as they're entertaining you, they're also, sneaking in things here and there to trick younger audience members, I would say. I read that already. But there, my computer wants to die. I might be back up again. I think I'm back. Let me check. Guys, you can hear me, send a message or something. The freak. Alright, I think I'm back. God damn it. It's a deep state, they don't want me to talk. They're protecting Tim Pool and Steven Crowder. But, yeah. Alright, where did I leave off? Yeah, so Dubster Brian wanted Rand Paul to win, but he'll take Trump if he gets 30% of his Republican points out there. Never settle, man. Depends. Like, what are you in this for? What are you into the politics for? Is it a moral pursuit? I hope it's a moral pursuit. That's what everyone else seems to be in it for. Some are in it for fucking team playing, straight up. And it doesn't sound like you're doing it for team playing. It sounds like you want particular issues to be handled the right way. Thus, never settle. And Trump is definitely settling. Rand Paul is definitely settling. I'd rather see Ron Paul. Yeah. That bully over there says Lindsey Graham warns Trump administration against Afghanistan withdrawal. Yeah, well, he's a neocon. We know about Lindsey Graham already. We know his story. I don't know why he started becoming popular again. He's like Bush era bad. But for some reason he's become more popular because he's been nice to Trump. And even that's recent. I think he was shitting on Trump during the whole election process. That dude will say anything. He will pander. That's a good rebuttal from Joe Swartz. Joe Swartz says, Trump wants to keep his promises, officials say. NBC News. The bully says, they are all murderers. I don't know why. Oh, don't complain about Russia and China doing the exact same thing we do. See, shifting to Russia and China, that's like deflecting, man. Like, stick with what we're going with now, with the points we're going with now. We also live in this country, so we have a little closer. But no one... See, when you say things like that, people will end up saying, like, just like Tulsi going to speak with Assad, like, oh, so you support Assad. Or her saying, there's evidence to say that Assad didn't gas his people. Oh, so you're a friend of Assad now, are you? That's the territory you're walking towards. That's manufacturing consent, essentially. So, yeah, this isn't some statement of, go Russia and go China. This isn't some statement of, Russia doesn't do anything wrong, China doesn't do anything wrong. We need to just not pay attention to them. This is a statement of, here's Trump, here's his policies, here's why I shit on him. Here's counter arguments. Here's counter evidence. Here's actual evidence as opposed to no evidence. Dubster Bryan says it's a pendulum. And you have to negotiate your way through life. Agreed. But when you're working on the level of morality, objective morality, there is no wiggle room. Once you know about that, there is no wiggle room of, I'll take this because this is less bad than this. I can't play games like that. Just what it is. The bully says, save the country from the liberals and socialism who are trying to destroy it. Yeah. See, that's another thing about when we're talking about morality again. It's about trying to read intentions. Now, do you truly believe someone like Bernie Sanders is trying to tank the country? Or does he see 30 million are left off healthcare? There's whatever percent of Americans living out on the streets. You ever consider that maybe he's trying to look after them? And in fact, I agree with that. I agree we should take care of every single person in the fucking country. And animals. Protect animals too, why not? Now, I don't mean like, protect deer from bears and shit. I mean, let's not just run over caves where a bear is living. That's all I'm saying. And I'm not wholesale against hunting either. I'm not really. That bully says, since McCain died, Lindsay turned around, but he's pro-war. He's more than pro-war. He's a neocon, straight up. So is John McCain. Huh? Oh, these guys know what neocons are. Ruben Garcia, yes, Lindsey Graham used to be a never-Trumper. Yeah. I think even like Shapiro and Crowder were not for Trump. Like, what's going to happen to our precious wars? We have this anti-interventionist guy. Then they probably got the whispers like, oh, he's pro-war. Okay, Trump's okay. I'm okay with Trump. Dubster Brian, well, I'm not starting an army to get the right king in place to dictate to all what is exactly right. I'm talking about following your own conscience. If you don't know objective morality, and I'm calling it a thing, maybe you should go find out if that's real or not. Now you can't find out by searching the internet and looking outside everywhere, and I'll go ask John down the street, or I'll go ask this Harvard professor who studies morality. I mean, you actually have to investigate yourself. Know thyself, if you will. It's from Jesus. Know thyself. And you will see that you are sons of the living Father. But first, build that wall. Ruben says, I think that secret David Brock employees are the new MSNBC. David Brock used to be a Republican that switched parties during Clinton's third way. During Clinton third way. I don't think those guys are on teams for a show. To show you something, to mess with you, I think. I don't think they're really on those type of teams. I think they're a part of the false paradigm of left versus right. Or trying to hold it up, at least. Dubster Brian, Republicans beat Democrats. I'll take middle right versus libertarian right if it cannot win. So again, too much compromise there, man. You'll end up sounding like Sam Cedar. I'll take one less concentration camp. Like Trump wants 10, Hillary wants 9. I'll take 9 concentration camps. I'm not saying that that's a, legitimate assessment of it, but, or a legitimate metaphor. Ruben Garcia says back during the early 1990s, late 80s. Okay. Thank you, Encyclopedia. All right, so I'm going to finally get to this Tim Pool video because it's fucking hilarious. The the front steps and the back steps to remain completely neutral and say absolutely nothing is incredible. And also the pandering to Donald Trump is also incredible. Fucking huckster, man. Dubster Brian, well, Trump is the devil, I know. No, he's not. He's just a continuation of the same old shit, projecting himself to be something different. That's the problem. I talk about Trump for you guys, not because I need to get Trump out of here. I need to knock down Trump. Like, no, it's for you guys. You're missing shit. If you vote for Trump, you're voting for dead kids. That's real. That's a real thing. Yep. You may not know it, but that's what's happening. Now, before, in 2016, when we didn't know anything what he was doing, he came off as anti-interventionist and all that crap. I understood. I even said it before. I said, at that time, at that period of time, Trump was the better candidate. Just looking at the window dressing of the two candidates, Trump was the better one, quote unquote better. But now, since you already had a run of him, it's about to be 4 years. We have a new election coming up. Now Trump is the fucking baby killer. Before it was Clinton. She's the obvious baby killer. Trump, we didn't know. Now Trump's the baby killer. And someone else, we don't know. Depending on who it is. If it's Biden, then it's baby killer versus baby killer. If it's Harris, it's probable baby killer versus baby killer. If it's Bernie Sanders, it's I hope he's not a baby killer versus baby killer. Dubster Brian says, I don't vote. Neither do I. We're on the same team then, see? Alright, here's Tim Pool. Just being a horrible analyst. I hope people watch him and subscribe to him because it's funny. Just to hear him, I think it's funny. Whatever. Oh, fuck. Here we go.
The Democrats don't seem to have anything. The Democratic establishment, I should say. They got nothing. What policies are they pushing? Okay, we've seen some.
Already, 7 seconds in. What policy are the Democrats pushing? I don't know. They're trying to project themselves as pushing Bernie Sanders' policy. You see, he's mistaking that, okay, Bernie, with this giant wave, came in 2015, 2016, with all those policies he's had, policies that a lot of these progressives wanted for a long time. And he ran on those. Then the Democratic Party found out it was popular, so they started adopting them. Seems pretty blatant that happened. Unless he's saying Hillary Clinton's the same as Bernie Sanders. He has to be saying that if he's just saying the Democrats. Dubster Brian, well, who is better than Trump? My opinion only. Rand Paul or Ron Paul, and they are not running. On its face value, Tulsi is better than Trump. Way better than Trump. Mike Gravel, well, is he running now? I guess you say Mike Gravel. Bernie Sanders, just reading on the surface, is a better candidate than Donald Trump. Then the rest, I don't even say better or worse. I just say they're the same. Just being real. If Jill Stein's probably not running. But if Jill Stein was running third party, she's better than Trump. Matt Hunter, so no babies will die under a Sanders administration? Oh, that's right. You're more concerned with a certain demographic of babies. Oh, by the way, guys who don't know, that's Matt Hunter. He likes to jump in the comment section, and I don't mind him saying his opinion, but he projects words out. He throws words out there that make it seem like I haven't explained these things to him before, or that me or James have explained these things to him before. We're not in this for some sort of race thing. This is for the other commenters. Now addressing Matt Hunter's comment. Didn't I say we hope Bernie wouldn't? Those are the words I used. But I'm going with on the surface, right? Bernie has made certain statements about foreign policy, which tell me which on the surface tell me would be more anti-interventionist than Donald Trump. Straight up. And Tulsi's miles ahead of both of them. And Gravel's miles ahead of all of them. Also, it would be brown babies dying if Bernie was to become a baby killer as well. Yeah, and white people too, as well. But I was talking more about foreign policy.
Oh, he can just run away like he always does.
Dubster Brian. Nope, Medicare for all kills the economy. Let's break this down. What's the best possible idea we could do? What's the best possible thing that could happen? Everyone is taken care of. Period. That's the best possible thing. Now, what idea comes close to that as far as healthcare is concerned? Oh, Medicare for all, where everyone's covered. Everyone. And we work together to make it right, to make it the way we want it to be. That sounds like the best possible idea. Well, closest to the best idea. You're sick? Go to the hospital. You're good.
Can you explain why it doesn't kill the economy?
Huh?
Why it doesn't kill the economy?
Yeah. It doesn't kill the economy either, but I'm not an economist.
Systematically, it makes sense.
Well, let's say Bernie Sanders has spent years, like, because he knows he'll get resistance for it. You can see during the Democratic debates on channels that are so-called leftists, right? CNN and MSNBC are considered leftists, yet they're asking questions which will try to put doubts in the minds of people about Bernie Sanders' Medicare for all plan. But yeah, you would have more money. You would have more spending money. Straight up. You'd have more spending power. Because you'd be paying less money for healthcare. Now the next talking point will be, well, the lines, I'll be standing on lines. Suck it up. Jesus Christ. Imagine if Jesus was here. Do that. What?
Fatal injury? You're going to go to the ER. Broken elbow? I think you can wait.
I don't even need to go there.
Well, you do, because you're going to hear that bullshit coming out of people's mouths.
Ruben Garcia, a Reddit thread about libertarians who are against Trump, said that Rand Paul's neighbor that assaulted him during late last year was ordered there by Ziocons to be more pro-Trump. Maybe. I don't know, though. Ruben Garcia, is Jesse Ventura better than Trump? Fuck yeah, he is. Fuck yeah, he is. By a lot, too. Dubster Brian. Yeah, all the Planned Parenthoods are conveniently located in the hood. No taxes. Yeah, I would agree with you there about Planned Parenthood. I don't like their history. I don't like the idea of fighting for abortions. Shouldn't we be fighting for how to not get, unforeseen pregnancies? How do we stop that? That seems like a bigger idea worth conquering, but once again, the whole abortion debate is still at the ground level where it's, children versus children. We can do better, humanity. King Me says, have you ever listened to the song Music Box by Eminem? It's a great song and I want to see you react to it. Eminem would end our channel. Have you heard that song? Music Box by Eminem? It's an old song? Yeah, our channel would get wrecked if we did that. It'd be some shit where we'd have to skip every so often, and it'd be like, this isn't even worth listening to. It's like we can't even hear the song, the actual song. We got flagged for someone else listening to a slowed down, chopped and screwed version of Kill Shot, the MGK diss. Because we said he lost. King Me's gonna go after us now. Come after the king, you best not miss. Jake. Get over here. Dubster Brian. You get on your own 2 feet and earn your way. That's what the Constitution was about. Provide opportunities, not handouts. See, if you put it in the context of handouts, I think that's wrong from the beginning. As much as, I would say it's more like it's a community saying we're going to make sure everyone's taken care of. Straight up. So we don't have to think about these type of things and we can focus on, I don't know, being creative, finding something you really want to do, something you truly want to do, something you dreamed of as a kid, and have an entire lifetime to pursue that thing, or achieve that thing, or to achieve it and move on to something else. Life isn't about surviving. We only survive to live. It's the living part. I don't see much of it. I see a lot of compromising. Ruben Garcia. It's people like David Brock that join the Democratic Party to push neoliberal policies and talking points, which then get labeled as socialism. I'm not a socialist myself, but I'm trying to... Where am I at? Trying to find out who David Brock is. What? I'm not a socialist myself, but I'm trying to... Who David Brock is. Trying to find out about Gay Wonk being a former Media Matters employee. Makes me want to investigate outlets like Vice, Vox, and BuzzFeed. That seems like a worthwhile pursuit. Investigate all of them. Everyone. Investigate yourself as well. Tate Tot. Tulsi passed 130,000 donors. If you got that from Nico House, he corrected himself on Twitter. He said the Tulsi campaign said it was a glitch. So the numbers did that. So what do they call it? Gaslighting? I think that sort of happened by accident. I think she'll get there though. Ruben says, trying to shine a light on who David Brock is. Gotcha. You should. We all should be paying attention. Fucking corporate Democrats. Matt Hunter, what about the multitude of American children that die every year from a multitude of reasons? Why does the deaths of foreign children warrant more of your empathy? Well, are these American children being shot with sniper rifles? Or are they dying from horrible policy? They could be getting shot too, but I don't think it's we're trying to shoot children as opposed to overseas where it's like, we're trying to shoot someone. I don't know. I fucked that up. either way, there's a clear difference between a war zone and kids being shot here. You have to really investigate it like a detective, right? If it's a drug dealer, aiming at someone else and they hit a kid, that's different than, someone who's using our tax money to blow up areas of the world. And by the way, that might as well be war as far as domestically. I'm out for ending that as well, the war on drugs. Dubster Brian, you will pay more taxes for Medicare. Look at the U.S. debt clock. Yeah, but you won't be paying out of pocket. I mean, you personally will not be paying more money for healthcare. You'll be actually gaining money. You'll be saving whatever amount it ends up being. Right? If you're paying $1,000 for taxes now, when Medicare for All comes in, you'll be paying $2,000 in taxes. But that $5,000 that you were paying in healthcare is now nothing. So your taxes will go up, but your healthcare costs will go down. Thus, you save money. I could have explained that way better, but whatever. Dubster Brian, are you down for End the Fed? If so, there would be no safety net programs at all. Bless you.
No.
From what I understand about the Federal Reserve is that it doesn't need to be there. First, they should be audited to see what the fuck they're doing. I think that's one of Ron Paul's ideas. Should be audited, them and the Pentagon, be audited to see what the fuck they're doing with all this money. And why would there be no safety net programs after that? If they're attached to the Federal Reserve, can't you detach them? Also, I think if we fix the problems here, the systemic type problems, people won't need to be on welfare or anything like that. Unless you're one of those low IQ guys who think there'll be people who just always suck at life because of their IQ. Joe Swartz, no copays, no premiums, you net save. Exactly, said it way better than me. Dubster Brian, if you do not know what I was referring to, you need to be informed about the problem of the Federal Reserve Act. I have an idea. Yeah, remember the dude, what videos did you send him? Syria? The Corbett Report, those videos we sent, World War I, you said you liked those. He has a whole thing, he has a documentary called The Century of Enslavement, and it's all about the Federal Reserve. Check that shit out. Dubster Brian, it was created by the 16th Amendment. Okay. Okay, I'll look more into it. I never really sat down and really focused on the Federal Reserve. I know little things, very little things here and there. I consider it just, it's another corrupt institution. Things I remember are like, it was playing itself off as a wing of the government when really it's just a private institution. I've heard little things like that here and there. But yeah, I need to study up on that. Matt Hunter, wow. So an American family that watches their child die from cancer is less deserving of your empathy, yet you pretend to be an expert on morality. Not what I said at all. I'm talking about someone intentionally shooting another person as opposed to a medical condition. And to get equal empathy, but like I said, become a detective, right? Really investigate how these things happen. Oh, by the way, you should check out a documentary called Brzezinski. He's a doctor in Houston. Oh, the documentary is called Brzezinski. Oh, I think it's... Yeah. There's a sequel. Yeah, check out Brzezinski. It's about a doctor who came up with a treatment for cancer that had quite, better success rates than what we're used to with diseases that are supposed to be incurable, cancers that are supposed to be incurable. Inoperable brain tumors. There you go. Check that shit out. Then come back and tell me I don't care about kids getting cancer. Alright, so we got 7 seconds into this Tim Pool video. But really it's just an excuse to talk with you guys, so I'll let some more play.
Interesting policies like Elizabeth Warren calling out big tech. What about the last...
That's the one he found. Elizabeth Warren calling out big tech? Why? Because, I don't know, is he a narcissist or something? If I had to, psychologically diagnose this guy, like, paranoid narcissism. He's so narcissistic that he's paranoid. So he focuses on issues that affect him and him alone. Everything else can go fuck itself.
Debate where they talked about health care for undocumented immigrants, decriminalizing border crossings. They've talked about reparations. Americans don't support those things. I don't understand quite what they think. They're talked about health care for undocumented immigrants, decriminalizing border crossings. They've talked about reparations. Americans don't support those things. I don't understand quite what they think they're going to win on when they go up against Trump.
Which candidate, Tim? Because you keep saying they. You're throwing them all in this blanket thing. People know, these people that are voting and watching these debates know the difference between Kamala Harris and Bernie Sanders. A lot don't know the difference between Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. Maybe you can go with that, but other than that, all the videos after the first night of debates was Bernie and Elizabeth Warren separate themselves from the rest of the cast. This is what I mean by a poor political analyst. One of the worst. This is what I mean by that. And see how he's projecting it like, no one will be able to defeat Trump. That's what I'm talking about. He's and then he'll have the excuse of, I didn't vote for Trump. I would never vote for Trump. I'm only telling my, 500,000 subscriber base to vote for him. By proxy. By omission, I'm telling them to. I'm dog whistling it. He knows where his butter is bred, man. He knows that shit. And he knows if he panders to Trump guys, his numbers will stay up and he'll keep getting donations and all that. Healthcare for illegals is Medicare for all. Why would an American support that? Well, we can go to the human level of, helping as many people as possible. James is working on something. I thought it was funny. Their fucking face. That dude, that one, the side, the profile of him is fucking hilarious. That shit, very Simpsons-like, I must say.
I keep being told that.
So yeah, it should be taking care of as many people as possible. Now, what we should be doing is, yes, combating illegal immigration. Well, I don't even call it illegal. Combating people running into the country for safety. You know how we do this? Well, let's go look at our foreign policy in these regions and see if we're contributing. You diagnose it. You become a detective, you diagnose it. You talk to the leaders of these countries. Okay, is this guy corrupt? Is this guy a puppet of the CIA? Is this guy a puppet of this region's intelligence services? Did this guy go to the School of Americas? You should look that up. Like, you should diagnose that stuff. That's how you end the immigration thing. Not a wall. Not arrest as many as you can. That doesn't work either. Not denying their humanity if they get here. It's like, why are you leaving your fucking homes? Why risk death and on foot? Packed into a van, drove up to near the border, and on foot run across it. What person chooses that? Dubster Brian says we gotta focus on America. Become a citizen. We are the world police. I don't know, I think if we dug up a whole bunch of skeletons of our intervention in Latin America, you might uncover some things that's like, oh, okay. They did democratically elect a leader who was helping them, and then we overthrew them. Or their filthy rich, wealthy class in those countries overthrew them. Why always blaming the white nation? Let's continue.
They throw around, that's a Republican talking point when they don't want to answer a question. Well, you're going to have to answer that question when Trump asks it to you. So maybe you can get out in front of it now. No, they have nothing. Here's the thing.
He's absolutely wrong. When he says they, he means like Kamala Harris and Kristen Gillibrand or someone, or Joe Biden or something. Because I think he purposely avoids Bernie Sanders because he knows he's answering the questions. Bernie answers the questions in detail. He has a whole fucking website dedicated to in detail policy. Trump is the one without the detailed policy. What do you think Trump's going to do? Dubster Brian says, well, you just said we need to fix foreign countries. That's policing. I don't agree. But that is what we are doing. Is it policing or is it like corrupt policing? As in, the cop that pulls you over, pulls the drug dealer over, opens the trunk and says, this is my payment for the month. I'm taking a brick with me. Like American Gangster or some shit. Or the 7-5. Yeah, I don't mean fix their countries. I mean give them the room to fix their own countries. That's what I mean. That's what I mean by that. And there's a certain time period where that was happening all over South America, where they were democratically electing certain people that were helping them out. Like, oh, we're going to nationalize oil and blah, blah. All those things you might not like. You might, you call them socialism and whatnot. But it's their shit over there, and they're taking care of their poor people. And when you take care of your poor people, they don't feel the need to run across the fucking border. Thus, no problem. So how do we allow that to happen? That's exactly it. We get out of the fucking way. So I don't mean, policing them or anything like that. I mean, basically what Bernie Sanders' answer was to getting governors or whoever, or senators to do what the people want, which in his belief is Medicare for all. He says, "Oh, I'll just go in your backyard and start campaigning there, and say this guy won't let you have Medicare for all if they want it or whatever." So what the president could do is say, "Over here they're doing this. I have a message for the people of that country," and blah 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 blah. "Your president takes money on the side from these guys who are drug traffickers, and these guys are corrupt and blah 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 blah," because they don't want to fuck with America. Let's be real. Matt Hunter, you believe Bernie is gonna stop sending money and HIV medication to Africa? No, he's gonna continue to intervene. See, that's healthy intervention, right? Even if it's a strategy, even if, let's say I disagree with the strategy, the intention is still, here's food and water, here's medicine, as opposed to, get on the fucking ground. Shut up. See how that's different? Dubster Brian, okay, I agree with giving them the room to fix their own country, but we have a policy called the Monroe Doctrine that interferes with that idea for South America. Monroe Doctrine? I know you brought this up before, and I didn't look into it yet. James is looking it up for me right now. Joe said it's true. With the female Nazi salute. I'm an hour behind catching up with the beginning of the broadcast.
Monroe Doctrine was a United States policy of opposing European colonialism in the Americas in the beginning of 1823. It stated that further efforts of European nations to control any independent state in or North or South America would be viewed as a manifestation of unfriendly disposition towards the U.S. At the same time, the doctrine of the U.S. would recognize and not interfere with existing European colonies nor meddle in the internal concerns of European countries. The doctrine was issued on December 2nd, 1823, at the time when nearly all Latin American colonies of Spain, Portugal have achieved or were at the point of gaining independence from the Portuguese and Spanish empires.
Okay, I've heard this before. Yeah. So James just read me the Monroe Doctrine, or Cliff Notes version of it. And yeah, I guess we broke that shit, right?
Let's see. There we go. Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, I believe, Panama, definitely, Ecuador.
Oh, all the places we've intervened in.
Yeah, Venezuela, Puerto Rico,
Yeah.
Cuba.
Also,
This is too much. It's too much.
and there's always ways around it. See, when you say the U.S. intervened in South America or played some sort of role in South America, you notice something. There's a thread that runs through all of these, at least the most recent ones, is that it's not just us going in with troops, right? We prop up someone else. Or with the one in Honduras, was that we trained guys from Argentina who then trained guys, and it turned into death squads in these countries. So, yeah. Dubster Brian, Bill Gates killed 40,000 Africans when he force vaccinated 400,000. It's only 10%. The Monroe Doctrine justifies us not allowing Venezuela to legally vote for a socialist leader. Yeah. Yeah. And if that wasn't there, we'd find some other excuse. For Joe said it's true. We went over the Tulsi post, not the post debate, but after that shit, the next day, the post debate interviews, on CNN and MSNBC, where I said, in my words, she took one step back when she started like, oh, listen, Bashar al-Assad is a brutal dictator. So was Saddam Hussein. So was Gaddafi. And it's like, my phone's ringing. And it's like, you could really believe that, but you see what they do when you say words like that. You see how it's manufacturing consent. Like you're not only looking out for yourself and your presidency and the people that exist now. You're looking out for future people. Because someday, let's say you become president, Tulsi, and you end all these wars. 20 years later, even this anti-war president said this, this, and this. Now it's all the guys, now all the other bad guys, because I'm not saying Assad's a good guy. He's probably a shithead too. Actually, I'm sure he's a shithead too. But now it's like all the focus is on him and Saddam and Gaddafi, rather than all the other shitheads all over the world with their hands in this particular thing. Why are you only insulting the Gaddafi man? Why are you only insulting Saddam, huh? Anyways. Dubster Brian, I believe in free elections, but the Monroe Doctrine, yeah. Yeah. And like I said, they'd find a way around it anyways, even if that wasn't there. As they have. As they have.
There's plenty of evidence to support that.
King me. Prime BJ versus Khabib. Who wins? Yeah, I got Khabib too. I just say Khabib. Khabib. Tyrone.
It's Tyrone. No. Tyrone. Why don't you make clips of that?
So yeah, I did all the Tulsi stuff, and now I'm just gonna talk shit about Tim Pool because I feel like it. It's freeing talking about a guy will never respond ever. Even if I know we don't have like a lot of viewers here. We don't have some major channel, but if he ever heard it, he'd stay away. They smear me and attack me. He's just like David Pakman to me. They're like the same person. Matt Hunter, sending them U.S. money and medicine is good intervention? The intention dictates whether it's good or bad. The intention. The action can go positive or negative. I make a distinction between positive and negative and good and evil. I said that during the debates, I believe. Maybe you weren't watching. I also said that doesn't mean it's the best strategy, or I think it's the best strategy. I'm saying if he believes that's how you help, then what's wrong with that? I thought you said we should leave them be and let them sort out their own problems. Yeah, but if like a dust storm, yeah, natural disasters, things like that. If that hits areas, like, why not help? We're not fighting war anymore, so we have plenty of money on hand. And it shouldn't just be America either. It should be everyone like, oh, fuck. Like, our cousins are getting fucked up. Let's help them out. It should be that simple. Alright. Dubster Brian, that's from Matt Hunter. Alright, that's them talking to each other. Alright, let's continue with Tim Tool. Like, you don't need to change his name around. Just listen to the guy fucking talk. Here we go.
Last night, Tulsi Gabbard destroyed Kamala Harris, and it was glorious. And there's an interesting phenomenon happening in response where Tulsi is now being smeared as a Russian puppet, a puppet of Putin, working with Assad, an apologist, and all this other nonsense. Why? Because the Democrats don't have anything, and that's the point. They tried...
She is a Democrat, Tim. She's running as a Democrat, Tim Pool. Now, if you're making a distinction between her and the Democrats, or Andrew Yang and the Democrats, I don't see why you don't do that for Bernie Sanders, unless you're saying his policies are the same as the neoliberal corporate Democrats, which we're very sure it's not. I think he's ignoring Trump's biggest competition. And I think Tulsi would be better than Bernie in a debate with Trump, but Bernie is closer to reaching that pedestal of having that hour-and-a-half debate with Trump. Good luck.
Russiagate against Trump for what, 2 or 3 years now? And they got nothing from it. Actually, they were talking about Russia before Trump even got elected. And they got nothing. You know why? People don't care. They don't care about your conspiracy nonsense. But they've been targeting Tulsi with the same smear. And the reason is, it's actually quite sad. They can't think of anything else. They're struggling to figure out what to do now that Russiagate is over. I got a bunch of stories pulled up I want to go through. First, I want to talk about this here. You may be wondering, Tim, why are you showing me Twitter? Well, did you notice this? The number 4 U.S. trend, Kamala Harris destroyed. Yes, the crony DNC
It was actually number 1 for a long period of time.
candidate who is plastic, she is fake, she is authoritarian. She got put in her place by Tulsi Gabbard. Well, they're not going to take that sitting down. So in come the smears. But what do they have? Russia. Seriously, that's it. I want to go through some of these stories and address
Actually, it was the Assad thing. I heard very little about the Russia stuff, but I thought it was more about Assad. That's the thing that they keep bringing up because that was Kamala Harris's response to her. Probably guided by her campaign or the DNC or whoever told Kamala Harris, like, hey, use the Assad thing and then we'll get our cronies on MSNBC and CNN to repeat it. Maybe even some of our YouTube guys, they'll repeat it for us. Or they might, they might censor themselves from talking about Tulsi Gabbard.
a lot of the smears that are hitting Tulsi in the wake of her, complete annihilation of the Kamala Harris campaign in what was a truly glorious moment. And we have this first story. Kamala Harris destroyed trending after Democratic debate. But I want to point something out. One of the big smears they have right now is that it's the MAGA people and Russian bots who are propping up Tulsi Gabbard. And they say, why would a Trump supporter like Tulsi Gabbard? You ever stop to think? Think about the character of Donald Trump. Think about the character of Tulsi Gabbard. Now, you may say they're very different people, right? Yes.
Okay, I hope he thinks by character he means like the actual character they play. Or does he mean the moral fiber of a person? I'm thinking he means the, on the surface character they play. Dubster Brian, what do you think about the voter ID laws that Senate will pass so illegals can't vote? Will the Dems still have the numbers to win a presidential election? That topic recently came up on QAnon. Well, first of all, illegals, I say people coming from outside the country that are not citizens of this country, shouldn't be voting for who should be the leader of this country. Right? We don't want any South American Alan Dulles to come over here and fucking start dictating who our president is or our Senate is. But yeah, Dems will still have the numbers to win if they're the right candidate. Or it didn't even have to be the right candidate, just depending on people getting out and voting. I think that's what that was the difference between Trump and Clinton, right? People were like, I can't vote for this person, or I don't like either one of these motherfuckers. I'm not voting at all. I'm gonna go grab a picket sign and start protesting immediately. Whoever the fuck wins, I'm protesting. So yeah, and remember, a lot of Obama guys voted Trump this time around. That happened. It simply states you have an ID to vote. Yeah. I don't see anything wrong with that. I love for, like, keep that and also switch to, like, a paper ballot would be awesome. Another one of Tulsi's policies that would make her left wing, I guess. So, yeah. We don't want people voting, like, 8 times and shit. But at the same time, we don't want people ignored either, who are actually citizens. That happened in Florida in 2000. All right, they just ignored entire counties of people. Or, you know, like a name like Jackson is a name a lot of people have. And so if your name is Mark Jackson, but there's a dude in prison named Mark Jackson too, and it's like, sorry, you're a felon, you can't vote. It's like, well, I'm not a felon. Too late, we already gave it to Bush. Sorry. That happened quite a bit. Go check out Greg Palast. He was all over that shit. Paper ballot is a Republican point of view? Ah, alright. Whatever. I don't care where it fucking comes from. Sounds better. As long as... Sounds better that actual people are reading it. But you will get that one, Matthew Broderick, from that movie Election, where he just crumples it up and throws it out. Go watch that movie. Alright, here's more Tim. Tim Time Jimmy Jam. Tim Time Jimmy Jam. Tim Time. It's Tim.
However, they tell it like it is. I certainly think Tulsi Gabbard has things to do with the right character of Donald Trump. Think about the character of Tulsi Gabbard. Now, you may say they're very different people, right? Yes. However, they tell it like it is.
Is he not going to vote for Trump secretly? If not, is he not going to just pander to his audience to get them to vote for Trump or to keep them in favor of Trump? I was talking to James. I told him what I would do if I had an interview with Tim Pool. I'd go over a certain amount of information and say, hey, man, now you know about it. Are you going to do a video on it? You should do a video. Promise me you'll do a video on it.
I certainly think Tulsi Gabbard has things to be criticized for. When she said Trump supported Al-Qaeda, that fell flat bad. And I think she better clarify that. But I respect...
Well, actually, she explained it in that one video I played. She explained. That's what I was gonna say that video for this moment in time. But whatever. I'll just talk about it again. If you support Saudi Arabia with arms and money and all this shit, and then they support Al-Qaeda in whatever region of the world, that's us supporting Al-Qaeda. Training, arms, just like I was talking about with South America, with Argentina training death squads. It's like, we train these guys to train these guys to train these guys. That is not indirect at all. That is direct hands in those conflicts. Directly in those conflicts. So, yeah, that fell flat. No investigation needed. It didn't sound good, so I don't investigate it. It made Trump look bad, so I don't investigate it. Bernie who? I don't know who that is. I only claimed to support him in 2016 because... Exactly. Because it's a failsafe. Because I need some sort of credibility. I said this before about Tim Pool. He's the guy who's constantly making the argument that I have black friends. Dubster Brian, you said you watched Tim Pool, right? You watched some of his stuff. Tell me his entire argument isn't, I have a black friend. I'm not racist. I have a black friend. I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm voting for Tulsi Gabbard and Andrew Yang. Tell me he's not constantly doing that. Speaking of Dubster Brian, Tim Pool is definitely a leader in what is called #walkaway. I don't think he was in it in the first place. I watched one of his older videos. I typed in his name and I typed in Bernie Sanders, and there's an old video of him talking about these guys are lying. And it was about the dumbest shit ever. No political analyst, just reading whatever the New York Times wrote. This dude is a... Fuck, what the fuck? If you guys know who David Seaman is. David Seaman, who went from Joe Rogan's podcast and running for some sort of office, and I worked for Huffington Post, to Pizzagate. Go investigate that. Right? He literally wrote a book of how to be a provocateur and become popular by jumping into certain movements. That's this guy.
Respect her enough to think she didn't just willy-nilly blurt something out, and she maybe has an idea behind that, but I'm still going to be very critical of it. You get no freebies from me. I mentioned this in my first segment on my second channel. But the point I want to make is, when you have someone like Tulsi just finally break through the fake plastic facade that is the DNC, that's going to get a lot of people happy. And that's why a lot of Trump supporters are going to be bringing this up. Now, also, you're going to have a lot of conservatives laughing at the fourth place, Kamala Harris, who's polling in fourth place, getting taken down. But they're trying to act like it's a surprise. Trump supporters who like Trump speaking off the cuff would support someone like Tulsi, who straight up called out the hypocrisy and lies from someone like Kamala Harris. Let's read a little bit. Actually, before we get started, head over to timcast.com/donate if you'd like to support my work. There's a PayPal option, a crypto option, a physical address, but of course, the best thing you can do, share this video. Independent political commentary is getting deranked. And as this is very, relatively pro-Tulsi and anti-DNC establishment, I can imagine the powers that be are not going to be too happy with it. So if you think it's worthy, please share. Let's read. They say, Kamala Harris destroyed trended on Twitter early Thursday after Senator Kamala Harris clashed on stage with several fellow White House hopefuls during the second night of the Democratic presidential primary debates in Detroit. The term, buoyed mostly by progressives supporting Rep. Tulsi Gabbard, referred to a moment on stage during Wednesday night's debate when Gabbard questioned Harris on her record as a prosecutor. She put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. Gabbard said during a heated discussion on criminal justice, referring to Harris, the remark garnered a round of applause for the Hawaii congresswoman. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California.
Just so you know, Tulsi also nailed Kamala Harris on the whole healthcare thing. I don't know if you guys remember that, because this incident has been getting a lot of press. But the healthcare one, where Tulsi mentioned someone who, I guess, supported or endorsed Kamala Harris's plan. It was also like a health insurance fucking corporate. I don't want to say, was it a lobbyist or something like that? Was it a lobbyist or something like that? The chick that endorsed Kamala Harris's Medicare for All plan. Point is, Kamala Harris has the full support of the private healthcare insurance industry. Like, that means it's nowhere near Medicare for all. And the more she explained it, the more corporate it sounded. And Tulsi called her out for that. But people forget that. Dubster Brian, he is always constantly claiming he used to be left, now he left. That is his phrase. He was with a newspaper at some point, according to him. That paper was left, according to him. That sounds like, you can't call me right wing. You can't call me a Trump supporter because I used to do this. I voted for Bernie Sanders. I have a black friend.
And his name is Tyra.
Bravo. Harris responded, saying that, oh, she's proud of the work she did. I don't care. She didn't even bother refuting her points. But I did talk about this in the initial segment on my second channel, so let's move on. They say Harris had a lively performance during Wednesday night's debate, clashing once again with Joe Biden. Right. The Kamala Harris...
Oh, by the way, with Tulsi countering Kamala Harris's health care plan, Kamala pivoted. Instead of responding to Tulsi, she pivoted to Joe Biden. That's when that happened. And I was like, oh shit, it's over. It's over. And then there's just more icing on the cake. Yeah. Dubster Brian, that was my point. I do not know. That's Tim's point too. I don't know. I just gave you this whole long-winded expression. I gave you this whole long-winded answer on my opinion, and then I step back and say, I don't know. Even though you can't ignore the past 3 minutes that just happened. It's like, come on, man. It's so obvious what he's doing. Here we go.
Destroyed hashtag had disappeared from the list of trending U.S. terms by 9:30 a.m. Thursday. Wrong. It's still there. Harris's spokesman, Ian Sams, responded to the hashtag, noting that at least some of the accounts promoting it appear to be bots. Oh, here we go. The Russian propaganda machine that tried to influence the 2016 election is now promoting the presidential aspirations of a controversial Hawaii Democrat. Is that all they have? They've lost it. They have no opposition. There's no opposition research. There's no strategy. There's no charisma. The Democrats are pathetic. That's what
He just did this whole long spiel talking about Kamala Harris in particular. Kamala Harris's aide, Kamala Harris's, I guess, campaign person, and yet he leaves that by saying the whole Democratic Party, all of them, every single one of them. Come on, man. I mean, at the very least, you have to say he's very poor at what he does. I'm starting to think that's why he's popular. Maybe people are just trolling. Ruben Garcia, everyone said it was over for Joe Biden last time too. Kamala will continue her presence. I think they're both done for. I don't believe the coverage. I don't believe the polls. Just reading the room, I think they're both done. And their next bet is Elizabeth Warren. Dubster Brian, he should say the Hill, not Democrats. Yeah, but I'm not saying you, but guys who are in this lane do that. Guys on YouTube and all that shit, and their followers, and they have large audiences. The Crowder as well. And they say the left, the left, the left, constantly. And they blanket term everyone. Meanwhile, Tulsi is the left. Bernie is the left. Gravel is the left. Dennis Kucinich is the left, quote unquote. That's why I don't like these blanket term things they do. And he's just following suit with them because it works. It gets clicks to do that. The left has gone insane. and he talks about two people. Antifa is on the rise. He talks about 20 people. Ruben Garcia, it's not about what we want. It's about what they want. The Sargon of Akkads of YouTubers. Yeah.
I'm going to say it straight up. I mean the establishment, because Andrew Yang and Tulsi Gabbard killed it last night with excellent talking points, and Tulsi takes the cake. I don't care who did it, okay? I happen to be a fan of Tulsi, but I just want to see reality for a brief moment. We know what's really going on in the world, and we know all of these politicians are spewing total BS. And then comes Donald Trump. And what does he say? He just says what's on his mind, and people love it. Finally, someone just telling everyone.
He says what's on his mind, or does he have research teams looking into all this shit? Here's what's going on the internet, and blah, 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 blah. This will work here. In WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks. Now it's like, I don't know what WikiLeaks is. Who's Julian Assange? Who is that? Come on, son. Come on, man. Come on. What's up, Sir Brian? I say the left meaning in general, but in general it is my lazy journalism to say it. I should cite my source, and that source says blah. Yeah.
Everyone else to go screw themselves. Now, Tulsi's not the same, but there is a similar aspect. She's cutting through the BS by being Kamala Harris kept a guy in prison for cheap labor. That is nightmarish authoritarianism.
Bernie would say that too. Yang would not say that.
Thank you for calling that out. She had some other talking points that kind of fell flat. Her closing statement wasn't that strong, in my opinion. The Trump Al-Qaeda thing was kind of weak, but I can appreciate
any type of anything she says about Trump, weak. It's weak. Is it true? Shouldn't that be the question of a journalist? Like, was that correct or not? He knows he can't do that. He knows he can't do it.
Appreciate her calling this out. And look, she's not perfect, but she is principled, and that to me is very important. But here was the response. First, Kamala Harris. She calls herself a top-tier candidate during a swipe at Tulsi Gabbard, saying that, especially when some people are at 0 or 1% or whatever she might be at. So I did expect that I might take hits tonight, she continued. Yeah, take hits. Take hits in that you imprisoned people you had for cheap labor, that you had someone on death row who could have been exonerated that you refused to free, and you laugh.
Trump's Attorney General, William Barr, brought back the death penalty. Ha 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 ha. Won't mention that.
About how you lock people up for smoking pot, and then when they ask you, it's funny. A double standard.
This dude literally did a story on kids licking ice cream. Kids licking ice cream. Now, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with doing that story. His take was like, fuck, what a fucking pussy. But that's his opinion. I get doing that story. Why not? But you have all these other things happening that you're just ignoring. Fuck. It's just some excuse for him to, I'm taking down the SGWs. I'm taking down the leftists. Ruben Garcia, Nike makes shoes with private prison labor. The same private prisons that Colin Kaepernick fans say hold disproportionate amounts of black people. Yeah, we did a video on, well, I didn't even know that our private prisons were doing that. what we went over was the, basically slavery to make fucking Nike shoes. And we're like, Kaepernick does this and signs with Nike. It's like, wow. Someone needs to pull that dude aside, or he's just a corrupt shill motherfucker. I think he's probably an ignoramus who, thought, oh, Nike, they brand themselves as being, wholesome and loving to all people of all colors, man or woman. That's an ignoramus move. That's why you gotta study shit. Here we go.
For the elite ivory tower crony DNC. And this is my point about the establishment. Bernie Sanders is the establishment, 100%, spewing the same garbled talking points as the rest of the establishment.
You see what I'm talking? What? Let's talk about the establishment. Bernie Sanders is the establishment. It's like, what? How? Why? Give me details, Tim. Give me details. Now, I agree that Bernie has pandered. Like, he pandered to Hillary Clinton after he lost, and it was a political move that looked shitty. That people that like him hated that he did that. But doesn't mean, like, he is the establishment. Fuck. And it's like, well, what is Trump? What is Trump in that scenario? Because he talks different? That makes it, like, the way you talk makes you establishment or anti-establishment? He brought up the military-industrial complex. He hired John Bolton. He hired Mike Pompeo. And he let them do things outside of just North Korea. He lets them do things outside of North Korea. Iran, Venezuela, Syria. He bombed Syria. See, if he was critiquing Trump and that, like, Trump bombed Syria, and I didn't like that. But what's really going on is these leftists. These leftists are doing this. If Hillary got elected, no fly zones. Then you forget that he critiqued Trump in the first place. Or the information that he critiqued Trump with. He can't do it. It hurts his money. Hurts his wallet. He can't fucking do it. Sir Brian, taking down the leftists is just a step. And that does not mean violence. It means logically. I would say, yeah, you got to give the children a lesson. For sure. There's silly people out there that do silly things. If that's what you mean by leftist. But you also have to read the intention. Are there kids out here that mean well? Are there people out here that mean well? You should be working together with them. If you have an issue like war, right? It's like, oh, someone who, they may be, dumb about this, but their conscience wants to help people. Like, oh, okay, you guys want to help the immigrants coming here? Well, we can help them by ending these wars that are blowing their homes up. Start there. Also, you're going to have to wreck yourself and the people around you as well. Right? You're going to have to take them down as well. Because you guys, I don't want to say you guys, but people that sound like that end up they're becoming the new SJWs. They're becoming the new Hillary supporters, right? The support Trump no matter what people. That's dangerous. That's stupid. Also, yeah, it shouldn't be taking down leftists. It should be taking down bad ideas. And if you take down the bad idea, the people that associate with it will go down with it on their own, by their own choice. Huh? Joe said it's true. He had to buy the channels since it was technically theirs. Oh, that's a late comment. Are you talking about Jimmy Dore or something? Okay. Scuffed world order. Kamala Harris for prison 2020. Hashtag lock her up. If Trump wins again, it will go into Cuba and Nicaragua too. I'm thinking all bets are off if he gets reelected when it comes to foreign policy. Like Iran, he won't be so hesitant, I think. Gloves off. Dubster Brian, intentions are not facts. Intentions are feelings. Logic deals with evidence and facts and disregards feelings. That's a robot. That's robotic thinking. Also, why do you want to go with logic first? What's compelling you to go with logic first? Please tell me. Is it you intend to do something? Some sort of intentions happen before your logic kicks in? It's like, oh, I want to fix the immigration problem. Why? Because it's hurting Americans. Oh, okay, so you care about Americans. You want to help them. Yes, and I will use my logic to figure it out. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Intentions come first anyways. Logic is not truth, my friend. Logic is not truth. Logic is relative. Truth cannot be relative. If I flip a penny every day, and every time it lands on heads, someone just randomly hands me $20, it's pretty logical to flip that coin every day, to continue doing that, right? You might even become neurotic about it. Like, fuck, I gotta fucking flip my coin today. Shit. Yet most people would just call that superstition. That's illogical. Like, no, that makes sense. Logic is relative. Truth is not. Truth would be every time I flip this coin and it lands on heads, I get $20, guaranteed. Unmovable truth. That's just what it is. That's truth. But the egotistical assumption of something is not truth. Ruben Garcia. I don't like Bernie recently pandering to millennials, like showing up on Twitch streams, for example. It looks like they're fellow kiddish to me. However, it's working because a lot of the milquetoast lefty people like it. So I guess I can see his logic. Excuse me. Pardon me. I don't like any type of pandering. Period. And I'm not saying Bernie's like the guy. He's the guy. No. No Bernie voter here. Just it boggles my mind when people hold up this one thing. They give all these reasons, and then Bernie Sanders is standing right there, and it's like, isn't that a better version? And I say that with Bernie supporters when talking about Tulsi, isn't that a better version? And he put up Gravel's like, isn't that a better version? And it's like, what are you in it for? I mean, if you don't have a real reason why this person's better than this person, it comes off as team playing. Dubster Brian, rational is what you just described. No, logic. As in, rationality is based on logic, right? Correct? If you're going to say logic is fixed, as in there is some sort of objective logic sitting out there, then you're just talking about the truth, and there's no reason to even use the word logic. As far as I understand, logic is relative. And in 20 years, something you're saying now that you're saying is logical will be replaced. Probably. But yeah, I'd say rationality is based on logic. Now, if you're going with the whole, what was it? It's not red pill. What the fuck are they calling it? Logos. There you go. If it's the whole logos thing you're going with, then yeah, I would agree with you. But the way these guys, the E. Michael Joneses, how they're describing logos, I would disagree with. But if you're using my definition of logos, then I would agree with you. As it is a imperial logic, as in it sits at the top of the totem pole. It is an unmovable logic. And most people usually attach, for me, I attach that to morality and yeah. Matt Hunter, truth is relative. Is that absolutely true? I said truth is not relative. Maybe you misheard me. And the follow-up question, is that absolutely true? That steps into a different realm of knowing and believing, as in knowing the truth versus believing something is true. But the truth itself is set in stone. Dubster Brian says no. Logic is another word for truth. Yes. Oh wow, did I skip him? I'll address that real quick. I wouldn't say that. I'd consider logic as a small aspect of the mind. One of the tools the ego can use to problem solve and shit like that. Or to make assessments. The truth is just what it is, period. Right? It's logical to say, if I need food to continue biologically living. All right, maybe that's rationality. Well, it's based on logic, though. As in, throughout time, if people don't eat, they usually die. The truth is, you don't fucking know. You don't know what that truth is. The truth could be you're some super person that, I don't know, feeds off of air. Just air alone keeps you alive. You can fucking work out, bench press 500 pounds, and not need any type of calorie intake or anything. Who knows? Whatever. Scuffed world order. The reality is that Bernie is the only one that can beat Trump, if anyone. Oh, I think Tulsi could beat Trump. I think she would wipe away Trump, actually. I think Bernie's going to wipe away Trump. But out of these candidates, Bernie is your best chance. Because they're just going to, even when Tulsi has a victory, they knock her down. As we can see. If you've seen the 2 earlier videos I just watched. Now, Hunter never stopped watching Molyneux videos. Molyneux's light work. Light work. Dubster Brian was not talking about logos versus ethos. Okay. This is your own thoughts on it. I was talking about actual definitions of words. But I gotta go. Have a good one. Alright, peace out, Dubster Brian. I like those type of topics. I'll disagree with you, though. But we also may be talking about the same thing, just using different words for it. That can happen. Matt Hunter says, truth is relative. Wrong. I would say that's wrong. Like, if you approach the truth, let's say truth was a living being and it can talk and shit, and you said, Mr. Truth, it's 4 o'clock where I'm at. It's like, well, where are you? It's like, what do you mean by you? And they go into a full detailed explanation. Right now your ego's talking through your persona. You see, you talk a certain way to, not scare people off. So you're yelling at blah, 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 and it'd be infinite words coming at you. That's what I mean by truth. Not just, yeah, you're right, it's 4 o'clock. It's like, no. That's too tiny for the truth. Truth is way bigger than that. Scuffed world order, but Tulsi can't get the nomination. Yeah, you're probably right. Unless this booster, this whole Kamala thing, and then she gets the donations to get to the next debates and starts wrecking the field. And even then, I think Bernie Sanders will still be standing because they're probably friends and close with each other. But yeah, you're probably right. Scuffed also says, change is the only absolute truth. That's wrong. My favorite color is blue. Change my mind. But that's the truth. And that will never change. Ever. Matt Hunter, it would no longer be 4 o'clock where he was. It would be after 4 o'clock. Agreed. See how I tried to dumb down the actual truth? See how I had to try and dumb it down? He'd be like, it's 4 o'clock and point 0.00001 millisecond. Whatever. So yeah, you can't boggle down the truth like that. Matt Hunter, for decades it was true that Pluto was a planet. Now that is no longer true. Yeah, it doesn't work with how I'm defining truth. Now you can say, I used to call that Pluto. Now I no longer call it Pluto. And if you truly mean that, then truth. I truly meant to call it Pluto. Now I truly mean to not call it Pluto. See? Absolute. That bully says Steven Crowder should be locked up and censored off every social media platform. No, he should be constantly exposed. Constantly. Pause. Constantly shown. Constantly be exposed to like what this person is like as far as a political analyst. That bully says Tulsi and Crowder are Russian bots. Stop trolling, son. Yeah, don't put Tulsi in the same lane as Crowder. That is two different worlds, man. Crowder's he's the worst. He's the worst of the worst. At least Bill O'Reilly had some pizzazz to him. Is that the right word? Crowder's just a straight up neocon, sell you with unfunny jokes, not even a real comedian. Well, he's not a stand-up, at least. Stand-up comedian.
You ready? Bill O'Reilly talked to Jon Stewart. Crowder would never.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Bill O'Reilly would actually talk to challengers, even though he'd cut off their mics or smear them or whatever. But at least talk to them. Crowder's afraid of Sam Cedar. Go look that up. Go look up Steven Crowder and Sam Cedar. Just type their names into YouTube. He's afraid of verbal combat with like people who study shit. He'll talk to college kids for sure.
He no-showed at a debate.
Versus who? Versus who?
It might have been Cedar, I don't remember. It was something in Politicon, he no-showed at a debate.
Scuff world order. Contemporary things be called absolute truths. Only in the sense of observation. Bless you. But what's really temporary, if you look at it in the truthful sense? Like, are you saying, like, if I say my favorite color is blue, and then I die, like, is my favorite color still blue? I'd say, yes. But nonetheless, even if you're not buying that, the truth can say, his favorite color is blue. His favorite color was blue. Absolutes. Only thing changing around is how we use our words around it. That bully says everything that trends that Democrats don't like are always blamed on bots. What the fuck? And I wouldn't say Democrats. There's people fighting right alongside you that consider themselves Democrats that are fighting the whole censorship war thing. They're fighting right alongside you. Bunch of Tulsi and Bernie supporters fighting right alongside you. A lot of them fucking dismantling the whole Russia narrative. They saw it for what it was. Where I'm at. Matt Hunter, just because you believe blue is your favorite color doesn't make it true. Yeah, but if I know myself, if I truly know myself, I can hear all the inner workings, right? You can hear the thoughts that are in the forefront of your mind, and you can see the thoughts that are in the background. And I don't mean see as in like visually see them. You don't even have to visually hear them. You can smell them. That's the word I use, smell. Right? Like if you're with you're with your girlfriend, you can smell when you're checking out some other chick. Even if your ego's not like, oh, look at her. There's still something you can smell in the back of your mind, like, oh shit. If you know yourself, at least to that degree, or to that depth. So yeah, it does make it true, if you know yourself. Because now the color blue is you, in a way. Not the color blue, I would say, yeah, I would say. Because it's not the color blue out here, right? If I look at something and I say, oh, and I say, that's blue, and that's my favorite color now. Somewhere in my mind, I already changed that color to something that's me. Right? That color blue out there does not exist in just automatically exist in my mind. Right? One's material and one's not. So yes, if you know yourself, you can know your favorite color. Scuffed World Order, do you really never prefer another color but blue? I see what you're saying now. Alright. Well, it's my blue. It's moi. My blue. And it doesn't mean I don't rank other colors. It doesn't mean I don't just say, they're all neutral except for blue. Blue's the one. In fact, I might like the other colors around to have some sort of relative favoritism for my favorite color, obviously. I want red around because I really like blue. Just want to We just want to hang out with blue and just shit all over red. Like, fuck red. See that purple? Fuck purple. Why are you mixing the races for? What's up with you blues mixing with reds and making purple? You taint the blues. Got it. It's a multi-level joke. Now, Hunter, how would you prove that blue is your favorite color to point out to the point of pure absolutism? Why do I need to prove it? Like, prove you're you. That's essentially what you're asking, or what you're saying. There's no proof required. Proof can sometimes become a fetishism of the ego. It's like, I must have my hands on it. I must know what it is. And can I taste, smell it, hear it? So, certain things you won't be able to do that with, as much as people are going to try. Victims of America's racism bully the racist. I love watching the left blame and attack the media for picking candidates. The left have no idea how much they get a boost from having a media attack Trump 24/7. Breath of fresh air. I get it, man, but I'm not sure how this world works. I don't think that's. They're gonna sneeze. I don't think that's what happens with our population in America, at least. I don't think it's just the leftists versus the racist whites or rights, whatever they're called. Racist white people that like Trump. The MAGA guys. I think there's a lot more normal people than you think. They're not all Don Lemon fans and shit. Or Steven Crowder fans. Scuffed World Order says, I think favorite should be defined too. Not bad. That's a worthy question. Worthy response. Favorite is a word I'm using. I'm trying to use words to communicate. I'm trying to communicate in a way that you can understand. So you can see there's several degrees of separation between what I'm saying reaching you to me personally. But I would say favoritism is just... It's just you. That's what I mean. Like, what? No. When I say my favorite color is blue, I'm saying my understanding and definition of blue, my favorite version of that is me. It is me. Or a part of me. All right. What happens if Trump wins re-election? The left will not be able to blame Russia. What will they blame it on? They didn't only just blame Russia. They blamed Jill Stein voters. They blamed Bernie Sanders voters.
Is that really the left? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Or is that a bunch of corporate people talking, convincing a bunch of ignorant people?
Well, how he's using the left, he probably means the Don Lemons of the world.
Yeah, but he's not the...
That's why I'm trying to say that it wasn't just blamed on Russia. It was also blamed on Bernie Sanders voters, Jill Stein voters, WikiLeaks. Well, I guess they called them Russian. But, yeah. whole bunch of people were blamed. Susan Sarandon was blamed. Believe it or not. Go check out Jimmy Dore, Victims of America's Racism. Bully the Waces. Yeah, you waces. Notice Democrats attack Obama's record. They should. But once again, intention comes into play. Who do you think's going after Obama's record to make a point about how we've gotten the same old shit year after year? It's been fucked up this whole time. God damn. All right, scuff world order. There's no left on the media. And I think he means like the real left. Yeah. The bully says, good one. Now, Hunter, why must you prove a truth? Really? Because that's how we know something is true. Well, if I'm saying something in regards to color, then it is or something in regards of favoritism, that means it is me. So it's like proving I exist to myself. And you don't need to do that. Like, I am me. That's what it comes out as. Thus, it's like, was that really proving anything? To say you are you? You take over the comments for a second, dude. I got a phone call. They don't need to see you.
I know. Oh, God. Shit almost fell. All right. That's right. A ghost of Christmas past is now controlling this podcast. Victims of America's Racism. That's a good one. That's a good name. If you listen closely, maybe you can hear Jordan's phone call about his all those drug dealings he was making, so we're able to fund this podcast. Let's see. Do you think if Biden gets the nomination, will the far left vote for Trump again? If Bernie get it, will the moderates vote for Trump? You think Bernie? Interesting. Well, just in general, I think the far left, they probably would vote for Biden. The actual far left.
Is that a comment or
Yeah. Right here.
Do you think if Biden gets the nomination, will the far left vote for Trump again? They didn't vote for Trump. Well, some did. Some voted for Trump.
I'm saying if Biden got the nomination, I think
a lot of people wouldn't vote, or they'd be begging.
A lot of people wouldn't, but we have to beat Trump. They'd vote.
Those are the
far left. I think he's talking about. So.
Yeah, those aren't far left. Those are Johnny-come-latelys. Yeah. Don't know shit about politics, but the nightly news,
The far left he's describing, I think they would, but to make the distinction between the people who are actually considered to be actually far left, like, fuck this.
Yeah. So you guys, you've been Tim Pooled. You have been Tim Pooled. Right? When you hear him do his videos and he's like, the far left is blah, 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 these far leftists. It's like, he's calling someone like, he's probably calling someone like Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton. No, he's calling someone like AOC or someone like that. The far leftists, which he's going to equate with corporate corruption. He's going to equate them together. Those types are not going to be voting Biden. Well, AOC will, but not people who support her, who think she's something different. Ilhan might not. And if Bernie gets it, will the moderates vote for Trump? I've heard something about them starting a third party, too. They'll hold their nose and vote Bernie. Or they'll vote Trump and tell everyone they voted Bernie. They got careers to look after, you know. They got careers to look after. That's what happened in 2016. Hillary was too moderate. No, she was too corrupt. Too corrupt. Too blatantly corrupt. That's why those guys couldn't vote for her. Alright, I'll play a little more of this, I guess. Here we go. This is what happens when you're just like, fuck it, with a video. It goes like 40 minutes in between each time you play it.
Andrew Yang and Tulsi Gabbard aren't. That's why they're gaining tons of followers. That's why they command respect from some Trump supporters. Not all, but a lot of people still respect them, even if they disagree. And then the establishment left says, it's Russian bots. Because that's all they have. Heaven forbid there are real people in this country who like a dose of reality from time to time, who like real people speaking up against the BS that the establishment tries to spew down our throats.
And Bernie's just like them. This guy's a charlatan, man. Either that or he's so bottom of the barrel dumb as far as vantage point. As far as information he's been able to see in his life.
But then, of course, I can't be surprised. Look at this story from the Washington Post. Democrats struggle to figure out next move against Trump after Mueller hearings falls flat. I love it. It didn't work against Trump, so now they're going to try and use it against Tulsi. You must be truly desperate to try and use Russia again after it didn't work for 3 years.
That's right, Democrats. Like, not Tulsi, though. She's not a Democrat. It's sort of the narrative. I don't know if he's purposely doing it or not, but that's what he's portraying to his audience. That these guys aren't really Democrats. It's like, you should say you should say it every fucking time. Say neoliberal, say corporate Democrat, say something like that. This guy claims to be moderate, which means, in today's world, would mean he's Barack Obama. Or by your standards, Hillary Clinton.
Ready? And you compare that to what, as far as the political scale would be in the 80s, he's a fucking Republican.
Yeah.
He's a George Bush.
Yeah.
Republican. What's that? You can't hear me. You can't tell me the greatness.
What James was saying was that if you take Barack Obama and put him in the 80s, as Barack Obama has said, he'd basically be like a Republican, or right of center. And look what we have here. Dems, in my opinion, are very divided. I think more moderates will vote for Trump because they like being rich. Well, I think one's a call to conscience, and one's a opportunity. So if you're an opportunist, like, Don't want you over here anyways. Go vote Trump. And what happens if Bernie picks Tulsi as his vice president? Which probably won't happen. But if he did. Amen. But it's all blamed on Russia. Tulsi is now Putin's newest puppet master. Democrats are lost. Vote for Tulsi out of anyone on this list. I'm hearing that a lot, but yeah. I would hope it's for like issues and shit more than they're attacking her with Russia stuff. It's like, okay, you're attacking them with socialism. It's just these bland words they're using and blanketing it all over any fucking person they don't like. Right? Trump rallies where he goes after AOC. Like, she's not running for fucking president, man. It's not who you're going to be up against. Trump is, he's going to have to be reliant on the DNC to screw Bernie over again. He's going to have to rely on that. That doesn't happen. He's fucked. He knows he's fucked. Tim Pool knows he's fucked. He said in a video, he said, if Bernie's nominee, Trump's just going to say, oh, crazy Bernie, and that's going to be it. It's like, he's fucked. He is fucked. Because all the talking points that Trump could use are all being used up in the debates right now. They're all being used up now, and Bernie's running over him. To people that know shit, he's running over them. So what's Trump going to say? He's going to say the same thing, but in a more charismatic way? That only works with fanboys. And I know Trump has plenty of fanboys, but that's not enough. Remember, a bunch of Obama voters switched to Trump voters because Hillary Clinton was that corrupt. They need to beat Trump. AOC will be Bernie's vice president. That's what I'm talking about. That's Trump's plan to associate AOC with Bernie as like they're the same thing. No, they're not. Says she's a victim of the media that attacks Trump. I'll stand by anybody against corruption.
She seems like a team player. So.
You'll stand by anybody who's against corruption? Really? Will you stand with someone who is into corruption?
Who said that?
The bully.
Oh, he's a Trump supporter, correct?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so Trump's corrupt now what?
That's why I'm asking. Will you stand with someone who is corrupt?
Either he's ignorant and docile, or he's corrupt. Or he's a robot. He's not a real person.
Yeah.
Let's just be real here.
How pathetic is that? Absolutely pathetic. You know, I was thinking about it. I worked in fundraising, nonprofits, marketing, and I'm just wondering, how are they so bad at this? No, seriously, how are they absolutely just so bad at this? Take a look at this story. No mention of Mueller impeachment during second Democratic debate. Why? Because the 2020 Democrats at least understand it's not going to play well. But the rest of these establishment leftists and policymakers, speakers, whatever, they don't seem to get it. It didn't work. It's not gonna work. Now CNN, MSNBC, or CNN, whatever, understand. I don't even think they brought this up in MSNBC, but CNN got it. They were like, yeah, we maybe don't want to do the Russiagate thing. That's done. That's just bad, right? But they're still gonna try. So here's where I want to go back in time and see and show you. They've been prepping this for a while. These ridiculous smears against Tulsi Gabbard, and that's what they are. They're lies and they're smears. She's not perfect, okay? But the fake news is the problem.
Why isn't she perfect, though? I agree, she's not perfect. Why isn't she perfect, Tim? Because, She went after saying, Trump supports Al Qaeda, which is, fell flat in his face. He's so dishonest, man. She wants to give health care to everyone. Not perfect, This guy's a shithead. Let's see. Trump's branding of the situation is smart. Make AOC the face of the left. Like, dude, have you lost your compass? Like, why do you support Trump in the first place? If it's just money, then I understand your answers. But if it was, he's going to fix the corruption and all that stuff, then you've lost your moral compass. It's gone now. If you think it's all about winning now, then it's like, oh, you're gone. You're lost. Yep, Bernie was fucked over by the Democrats. I stood by him despite me thinking he's a nut. Fake news is the problem. Well, you got it. Okay, then fight it. Because all you're giving me is the same talking points as Donald Trump. You just said he's smart. You just said he's playing people with his words to get reelected. So, since you understand that, why are you using his talking points as your arguments? Unless you're trolling. It's another story.
She is getting similar treatment that Trump got. Admittedly, she's nowhere near as prominent and famous as Trump is, but this is their line of attack. Daily Beast. Tulsi Gabbard's campaign is being boosted by Putin apologists. The Hawaii congresswoman is quickly becoming a top candidate for Democrats who think the Russian leader is misunderstood. Is that where they go? How about this one? Russia's propaganda machine discovers 2020 Democratic candidate Tulsi Gabbard. Experts who track websites and social media linked to Russia have seen stirrings of a possible campaign of support for Hawaii Democrat Tulsi Gabbard. Now here's the not-so-shocking part. The group that's making these fake claims is the same group that was busted fabricating information in favor of the Democrats to smear Trump. Why? While many conservatives might not be big fans of Tulsi Gabbard, she is quite a populist personality. And as I mentioned, there are some similarities, a dose of reality that people can respect. Someone who's talking about issues that are bipartisan, no war. Someone who flat out said on the debate stage, I will not give college for free to illegal immigrants. When the last time they all raised their hand about giving health care to illegal immigrants. Tulsi has principles behind her ideas.
So now she's principled because she doesn't want to give free college. Are you saying she's principled because she's not standing with the rest of them? What if they're copying someone else's policies or trying to reflect someone else's policies in order to make them like, shit, this guy's getting popular off these ideas. I should copy those. Are you taking that into consideration, Tim? Or is it just they're all bad, and if you do something different from them, you're principled? Sort of like this comment I'm about to read. Trump ain't my moral compass. Politics have never been about morals. Oh, we're going to give you college because we care. Dems need poor people to thrive. Now, what if you've been a politician that's been saying this for years and years and years, and you weren't popular then, it wasn't popular to do it, no one gave a fuck about what you said, you were a nobody, you're still saying the same things then that you're saying now. Is that a pander to votes, or are these policies becoming more popular now? And the establishment Democrats see the writing on the wall, and they're like, oh, we're going to copy that thing. Or at least make them think make them think we're doing the same thing. Now, it's so simple to figure out. So easy to figure that shit out. Need poor people who need handouts. I'm just giving them the information. I'm giving him the information. He can bury it in his subconscious, in which case it'll come back as something worse than it was before. Think of a little baby monster. You say, no, bullshit. Years later, it's like, oh, fuck. Oh, shit. So it's just little seeds, little mustard seeds. Those things get spicy, my son. So yeah, I'm sure, as I just explained, there are corporate Democrats that are copying the policy of someone who might be for real in order to pander for votes. Well, I think it's less about votes. I really think it's less about votes. I think it's more about keeping that person who really means what they're saying away. They want to keep that person away from the presidency. Because if that guy wins or girl wins and they do what they're saying they're doing, or what they're saying they want to do, they get all that shit done, it's over for them. It's over for the establishment, Dems and Republicans, Trump included. Well, he'll be fine because he's a billionaire when he leaves. But any chance of anyone like him being president again? I mean, like, really like him. Not the facade he's putting up, but the actual person. Anyone like that will never have a chance in this country again. They'll need a stick of dynamite and blow everything up. That'd be their last chance. That's what I'm saying. People keep voting for Democrats because they think they care. Yet the cities are infested with homeless and rats. Well, I'll say this. People are updating their databases, right? They had Obama, and they thought this was the change they were looking for. People had Trump and said, oh, this is the change that we're looking for. And then when a real motherfucker walks in there, it's over. That's it. That is it. It's over for them. Trump is establishment. Be real. He talks differently. Right? It's like, oh, we like him as president. He talks better. That's Obama. We like this guy. He keeps it real. The way he talks, that's Trump. And then there's, this guy says what he means, or this girl says what she means. That's something we haven't seen. Waiting for it. And that's what people are desperate for. Who wants to run as a Republican if you get called racist? By who? I don't think they just call everyone racist. I'm sure there's some people that do, but not a real motherfucker. Fuck. All right, a couple more.
So, of course, you can't allow that. The establishment must keep on keeping on. The pro-war types, of course. Here's the thing. From The Intercept, Glenn Greenwald. NBC News to claim Russia supports Tulsi Gabbard relies on firm just caught fabricating Russia data for the Democratic Party. And they're talking specifically about this story. Thank you, Glenn Greenwald. Glenn Greenwald, who is facing threats and potential persecution over his challenging of the Bolsonaro government. Still willing to stand up for a free press, and many conservatives had his back, including Tucker Carlson, because principle matters. We can disagree on issues, we can not like the same politicians, but we can agree on the rules, right? This is the point about the Democratic Party.
You're supposed to agree on principles.
That I have tried to bring up time and time again. They say, Tim's clearly right-wing because he keeps slamming the Democrats. Let me make something clear. Donald Trump won. He wasn't supposed to win. The Republican establishment did not like him, but guess what? They didn't cheat. Bernie Sanders was supposed to win, but guess what? The Democratic establishment cheated. Like they're cheating now, changing the rules. They removed one of Andrew Yang's polls so that he won't qualify for the next debate. They are sleazy cheaters. We know they are. We've seen the emails. We know what they're doing. Now, look, you can be critical of Donald Trump, but at least you can recognize, as much as the never-Trumper Republicans didn't like him, they didn't cheat. He won. He lit up new voters. They voted.
Already?
Trump wins. They accepted it. They've rallied behind him.
Right.
What are the Democrats doing? When you actually have someone who speaks on principle, that is actually likable, and could actually do some good, they do everything in their power to smear her. And so that brings me to a next little bit, which we're gonna hit this, and then we're gonna jump to another story, though, because I just want to point this out. This was this morning. Kamala Harris destroyed is still trending. Assad is trending above Tulsi. There's one important thing I want to point out that I did mention in the early morning video, but I have to mention. Tulsi Gabbard was the most searched for candidate on Google. So as much as I don't trust Google because she is suing them, because they did shut down her ad account after the first debate, we can see that people really want to know a lot about her in every single state. Here's the thing. Jack Posobiec pointed out she was removed from the trending list on Twitter. How strange. He says the most searched for candidates tonight, not trending. Andrew Yang was, so that's good. And then he says 40 minutes after my tweet, Tulsi is suddenly the number 2 trend. I saw the same thing. My friends saw the same thing. They pulled Tulsi off. They are cheating. They are cheaters. This is the game they play.
They, the Democrats. Republicans don't ever cheat, ever. Literally lied us into the Iraq war. No cheating. Come on, man. Come on.
You save it, right? Inside there, you save.
Yeah. Did you use spaces?
Yeah.
Let's use dashes instead. That's why Trump's 100% right about Baltimore. Are you sure? Does he bring up all the things that led to it, or does he just say, Baltimore's bad, and move on? I love this guy. Democrats equal cheaters. Oh, you're just fucking trolling at this point. I said way too much information for you to to just write off like that. Google got rid of the links regarding Kamala's shitty actions. Really? Or do you mean Tulsi got taken off the trending list and Assad went up? Alright, I mean, I've wrecked this guy enough. Not really. I'm barely focusing on it, just talking shit. And he's that easy to verbally dismember. Yeah. Tim can't debate anyone on anything except for maybe censorship. Anything else, he's fucking done for. That's it. And I'm not saying you have to go out and fight and blah, 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 blah. I'm just saying his ideas do not hold up and his audience is too large to just let that slide. Like, oh, you're going to get called out. Fair game here. You criticize them, I criticize you. And them. Obama, $1.8 billion to Baltimore. Where did it go? I don't know. Where'd that money to Iraq go? Where'd the 9/11 billions go? Where did a whole bunch of money?
Where do those weapons go to Saudi Arabia? Where'd they go?
I mean, countering Trump with Obama does not help anyone's case. These guys are part of the same shit. If Trump was elected in 2008 instead of Obama, he would have expanded the wars to 7 or 8. And if Obama was elected in 2016, he would continue the same thing. They would just sound and look different, with different people voting for them, and different people cheering them on. That's what they want. They want to keep it that. They want to keep it the old guard of politics. Of, guys, don't pay attention here. This is all boring. Don't pay attention here. That's probably their problem with Trump, that he's too loud. People are now paying attention to all this shit because he's in office. So they relegate it to Russia, where you're focusing on Russia. You're either defending Trump or calling Trump a Russian agent. And you're never focusing on these fucking things, these particular things. Then when you get candidates that call it out, they can just get smeared as a leftist or a socialist or Assad apologist. They want to keep things the same. And you're helping them if you're doing this Tim Pool shit, you're helping them. He's, whether knowing or not, trying to stop any type of real change from happening. Whether he knows it or not. He's projecting Trump as something different. As some sort of revolutionary. It's like, no. Same shit happening, just people pay attention more because it's controversial or whatever. Kamala's links about her corrupt attorney days. Yeah, these guys that you call leftists, which you blanket term all these people, have been calling Kamala Harris out for a while now. Just nobody pays attention to them because they want to keep it the old guard. No, Tim's genius. What don't you like about him? I don't know him personally, but the information and the character he plays here and all that shit is so either dishonest or incompetent to a level where I have to say something because he has such a large fan base. It's, I mean...
He's incompetent. Look at his thumbnail. Look at the shit he talks about. He ignores blatant events that happen in other parts of the world. He constantly props up one side.
Yeah. Google took them away. We shouldn't be worried about Russians. We should be worried about the tech giants. Why not pay attention to as much information as you possibly can and then start plotting out your priorities? That's what I think an honest person would do. Tim's not going to do it for you. We already see that. If all you watched was Tim Pool, there'd be so many news stories you missed out on. So many. Even ones that make the Democrats look bad, if that's your fetish. Anyways, that's it for me. I'm done. I tap out. I give up. No mas. Alright, subscribe if you feel like. Comment, agree, disagree. Let me know what you think. Send me information. Send me content to react to. We do that here. We take requests. As long as it's not like a fucking 40-minute or a 2.5-hour fucking video. Try to keep it like something that's like, 15 minutes or less. That'd be cool. Donate. Devon's Journey to Recovery. If you're a capitalist, you hate that socialism, well, there's only one way to help other people out. You got to donate money. You don't want the government doing it for you, so if you take care of each other now, you don't have to worry about socialism. So please donate to Devon's Journey to Recovery. The GoFundMe link is down there, description box. And with all that said, give this video a thumbs down.
Say you wanna get in.